All right, man. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is, wherever it is in the world that you happen to be. You have got Black Dragon Biker TV, Hollywood from Insane Throttle, and new YouTuber, Shaggy, one percenter from the Invaders, MC. Hey! And we are glad to have you guys, man. It's going to be magical, bro. Magical. And, how we do it. I'm Black Dragon, and I'm back on the air, man. It's been a long time. Been off for about 2 months writing my book, which I'm glad to say is done. The President's Bible. Huh? Anyway, got my toys back. I haven't had my toys in a while. I kind of forgot how to use some of this stuff. But anyway,
if you forgot how to use them, just ask my wife. She'll give you a crash course in toys.
And don't fucking ask me, because I got one button to push.
Man, it is so cool to have you guys on the show, man. This is Black Dragon Biker TV. For those of you who don't know, we are 5 years old. 5 years old in June. 5 years old this June. We were the pioneers of this, Hollywood and myself and Dibber. And then there was a guy called Ninja Dad 67 or something like that. He just disappeared. I wonder if he died or something. He was like one of the first guys I ever saw. And then I met Hollywood a little later. Dibber was one of the first. So, man, it's like we've come full circle. And now we got all these newbies, Hollywood. We got all these new guys with their shows. And
oh, yeah, man. You got Shaggy that just hit his 1,000th subscriber today, man.
What, in 2 weeks?
Yeah. He like
about
bammed
4.5 weeks.
Man.
About 4.5 weeks. But here's the thing, man. These other YouTubers don't live this lifestyle. They're fake. They want to talk about shit they don't need to. These cops that are doing it don't need to be talking about this lifestyle. The three of us sitting here, and there's a few more we could add to this round table, like sitting around the campfire, drinking cold beer, telling old lies, like bikers are known to do, and just have a good time with this. They put out too much false shit, like that. There's too much misinformation out there. It's sickening.
Yeah. So Shaggy came out sweet.
Shaggy came out hitting, baby.
Wow.
That's what they made her way. We don't play around.
That is really cool, man. So and we're going to talk about that, man. We're going to talk about each of you. I named this when one percenters do social media. You guys have been absent from this, Shaggy. You guys have been completely absent from this movement, which it speaks as to the traditional way that one percenters have always carried themselves. But in my mind, my thinking, you guys are going to have to master these airwaves if you're going to be able to control your publics. And I wrote a book about it called The Public Relations Officer's Bible. And it's all about public relations for motorcycle clubs. And the bottom line is the war is being fought right here. Across all my platforms, I have over 100,000 subscribers across all of my platforms. And the war is going to be fought and won here. And so, it's about time that we see some of you guys come on here and do this. I mean, we got Hollywood with his background. He was, can we say where you come from, Hollywood? Is that permissible?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Hollywood was a black piston, and before that, in a major club, and of course, Black Pistons support for one of the oldest and well-known one percenter clubs in America. Actually, I guess they're worldwide. And then, of course, you, Shaggy, come from the Invaders, another long time club out here that's been doing this for a minute. So, with the background you guys have, I'm
Well, I
really.
was also in another club. I was in the Armed Forces of America MC for 18 and a half years.
Oh, you came from the Vet Club. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yes.
another outlaw club, in fact, and so here you guys are. You've made this huge transition, and wow, what do you think? 1,000 subscribers. It took me 1 year to get 4,000 or 3,000. Yeah, 3,000 subscribers. It took me 1 year. You got 1,000 subscribers in what, 2 or 3 weeks, man? Get out of here.
Well, it's because of you two guys. I've been following you, Black Dragon. I started following Dauber in the Wind shit back when it was way before YouTube. I think it was just that MSN. I think it was what that was back then. I can't remember. And then I remember watching the videos. You going, man, who's this big black guy walking through the woods? And he's like, hey, get over here. So I imagine he was walking his dogs, but he did club stuff. And he was right. He was talking about the times. This was probably about, it had to been 2011, 12, somewhere in there, 2010 maybe. That was a long time ago.
Was a long time ago. Yeah,
hey,
before YouTube.
Your beard
yeah.
wasn't all the way white. Mine didn't have any in it either.
It was before YouTube. Yes, sir. I remember that. Holy shit. That was a long time ago.
First off, I'll blow your mind for a second, is the invaders have liked their anonymity, and I came here as a kind of a high-profile guy. I've always been, well, not always, I got really into the NCOC, INCOM, and the COC by accident. Like, I hated that. I didn't like what the platform was. And then I got voluntold to go to a national coalition of motorcyclists meeting 6 years ago. And it was my first one. And I couldn't believe what I saw. And then I met Double D and talked with him a little bit. And I talked with some of the other people there. And it just motivated me to get informed, get involved. And it just kind of went, the way it went from there. And Armed Forces and I come to the end of our road, and for all intents and purposes, man, I still know and love a bunch of those guys. A lot of them still consider brothers, and I have the most deepest respect for them guys, because a lot of those guys took me under their wing to make me and teach me to make me the leader I am today, and think a lot of the ways I do today. So the invaders weren't quite used to having somebody so upfront and out in the public all the time, and they really take it as well. I get a lot of good feedback from my own brothers, and that's really assuring, especially when you said it rightly, man. 1%ers ain't been in this platform. They ain't been in this league. And the reason being is sometimes we just can't figure out how to say it where people can stomach it. Well, just like you, Black Dragon, I was a Navy instructor too. I didn't get my MTS because that's a long story, but that was my goal. That was my favorite thing to do. And just like you, I'm an educator and an informer as far as giving the correct information. Informer is such a bad word to use. I should have thought of something else. But that's the way it is. My platform is about bringing back what this lifestyle is truly about, which is the motorcycles, first and foremost. Respect, secondly. Riding your motorcycles, respecting your brothers, enjoying the brotherhood. We are the last free society, period. And people forget that. They want to add their politics. They want to add all their other bullshit. My platform's not about that. I get questions all the time about, what do you think about this club or that club? And what do you think about what this club's doing or that club? That's Hollywood's job. My opinions about that kind of stuff will get me killed, get my members, hemmed up. I'm one of those that, when I talk in the aspect of whatever I say is going to affect my brother somewhere else, and I don't want that to happen. But I'm also talking the truth.
Man, you're killing me with all this real protocol here. This is just somebody that's actually thinks about amazing. The weave more than the eye. Come on.
Well, that's that's one of the things I got excited about, because me and you, BD's always been big supporters of NCOM, NCOC, Double D. My God, does that fucking guy work? for clubs. And the platform I'm in is Biker News. I'm also got the radio station and stuff. I'm more of a comedian over there because I can't really be myself on the YouTube, if you know what I mean, BD.
Oh yeah.
But when Shaggy came aboard and the position he held with an NCOC, COC down in Missouri, and NCOM, I was like, finally, somebody's going to be coming on here and speaking about protocol and stuff from a 1%, an actual 1%er's point of view. And I have to admit, I think old. I only believe there's only a few 1%er clubs out there, but that's because the way I was raised. I always believed it was the early guys, the ones who had to put up with all the shit in the 70s, in the 60s. And knowing what club he came from, I was like, man, that's a 60s club. They got the best reputation around here. And I was like, finally, people on YouTube's going to be able to hear it straight from a hardcore 1%er.
Well, another thing too is what I'm saying is what I was taught over all these years, right? When I came to the Invaders, and this is one of the funniest things ever. One of our nomads, he is a great guy. He's a 47-year member. I look up to him. He is a god in my eyes. He's a god in a lot of the guys' eyes in my club. He's been in several key positions. I was in his house one day. It was right after he moved back home. And we're sitting there talking, and I said, 18 and a half years, man. I've been a boss. I've done all these great things, and I built a couple chapters, and I've been around some great people, and I know how prospecting should go. It's, I could be the perfect prospect and do everything that I did. Like, there's nothing that you're going to do to me that I haven't had done to me already, or I haven't done to somebody else, But prospecting is supposed to be about a story. It's supposed to be about the beginning of your journey. It's supposed to be a beginning of your big picture in the club. It's that second step. The first step to hang around, but the second step, and a very vital step. And I said, I purposely fuck up so that I could have a good time and I could have something to say. And that man's jaw hit the ground. He turned around and he said, in 47 years, I ain't never had a prospect tell me he purposely screws up so he can have a good time prospecting. And I said, well, you ain't never had a prospect like me. He looks at me, he goes, well, yeah, you're right. You're one of the first prospects I ever called brother. Matter of fact, you're one of the only ones ever. He said, maybe I'm just getting soft. I'm like, no. I've known these guys for 13, 14 years. And what people see out of me, they think they see the 1% diamond. I got congratulated when I patched out, hey, good job on that diamond. It pissed me off. I didn't join the Invaders Motorcycle Club to get a diamond. I joined the Invaders Motorcycle Club because I wanted to be an invader. This is a special group here, man. This club has got brotherhood like you wouldn't believe, man. They talk about shit you never hear anybody talk about. Class, carry yourself, professionally, be a good steward, shit like that. I'm looking at them, and they're talking about family, family first. And I'm looking at them like, you guys are what? I've been partying with you guys for 13 years, and you guys are talking about family first? Man, I learned how to become a dad again. My son's 23. I learned how to become a husband again. I was just telling a brother from another club earlier today, I said, being a 1%er is fucking boring. I twiddled my thumbs more than anything. I wish somebody would have told me that. You know why? Because we have epic moments. That's the feds. Will tell you all about them.
You got me. I'm just smiling from ear to ear. I'm beaming from ear. This is the stuff I've been preaching and teaching for the last umpteen years. And, you don't hear this from other shows where, there have been a couple 1%ers now that have had shows, and you just don't hear the old school values from the very young people that would purport to be the keeper of all the knowledge. You don't hear the old school values when we talk about brotherhood, when we talk about the things that we do affect the entire club, when we talk about you don't name drop. You don't, these are things you said, hey, there's certain things I'm not going to do, get me killed. because there is, bottom line, even on my side of the fence, there is a an unspoken uh, tide that carries us all, and we're
It's two
part
things,
of.
man. It's two things: motorcycles and respect. That's it.
Which reminds me of a quote that came from you. There are there are three parts of any great organization. That's respect. Um, oh hell, did I
Communication,
lose it? Respect, communication, and brotherhood. And
participation.
participation.
That's right.
And you know what pisses me off about that? You know that's in my book.
Mhm.
Your quote's in my book, so I should have been able to say it. But respect, participation, and communication. Three parts of any great brotherhood: respect, communication, and participation. And so many clubs are having trouble with that piece, those three pieces, bringing those three pieces together: respect, participation, and communication. And that's one of the things that I look so forward to seeing in a true old school one percenter format. We haven't had it yet. We've had the big Pete's come out. We've had a lot of folks come running out, but we haven't had anybody. And I'm very excited. 1,000 subscribers in 4 weeks, 3 4 weeks. That is, that is something to be proud of. We congratulate you on that. We
Hell
welcome
yeah,
you to
man.
the pantheon
Right on.
of
Thank you,
creators.
man.
Um,
I gotta thank you two. You guys are the ones that did it because you know it's amazing when somebody is genuine, and genuine comes easy for me because that's just me. This is my lifestyle. I've lived this my entire adult life. Um, I couldn't imagine living any other way. Uh, but you two guys, man, Black Dragon, you hit me that one night, and then the next day, Hollywood does a 15-minute deal on me, and like every other show, he's saying something, and the comments that come in, the people that are viewing this stuff, and I never thought anybody wanted to listen to this shit. I try to keep it, calm, like we were as instructors. You don't get up there and get all animated and excited. You put the facts out. You lay it out for them like it is, and all these other shows that want to do all the crazy theatrics and shit like that, man, the crazy theatrics belong inside the clubhouse with the doors closed, and what happens in there stays in there. It doesn't belong on YouTube or Facebook and all that shit like that. But you know, it was time to protect our lifestyle because us three guys right here, we're graybeards, man. We're like I'm mid future, just about outdated. You know, Black Dragon, brother, I love you, but
You're
you're on
old.
the
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
wrong
27.
walk
I
to
don't.
come. And Hollywood's just kind of giving up. He just wants to make fun of us skeletons and shit like that in the closet, but and clown suits and shit. But hey, it's all good. Um,
You
but
know what though, with me, Shaggy, and this is what I try to tell everybody that watches me, myself personally, is I'm entertainment. I'm not there to teach you guys anything. I'm actually at the point in my life where it's foreign to me now because everything has changed so much from what I was taught and the way people act, the whole 9 yards. And like I said at the beginning, there's only certain clubs that I even consider a 1% club. That's because the way I was taught. And when you see these new clubs popping up, throwing diamonds on, I believe it trashes what the 1% meeting's supposed to be all about. So I'm entertainment. If you guys ever listen to my other shows, I don't know if Shaggy has or Dragon, but I'm out there. I'm here for entertainment. If you guys want advice, you go to somebody like these guys. And especially, in the 1% crowd, you got a fucking 1%er sitting there that is with NCOM, NCOC, and I preach those organizations all the time. And I got to give a shout out to, one person that has really taught me a lot where I can just sit down, shut up, and listen to is Bor with the Sons of Silence. I idolize that man.
that's amazing,
Yeah, yeah,
amazing man.
yeah, yeah. I'm for it. Listen, uh, he's a great guy, uh, and I have him and you and Income Shaggy, and as well as Hollywood to thank, you know, being one of the first, if not the first, African American to win this prize,
I was
this
there that night.
recognition. I was just so disappointed that I couldn't be there because of the COVID virus. But this is one of the proudest achievements for me because when I, from where I've come from, and from my motorcycle club, 50-year-old motorcycle club, and what they taught and what we lived is what I taught, and that has gone around the world in my books as they've been number one bestsellers, and they have been required reading for motorcycle clubs all over the world, from 1% crews to motorcycle ministries to MSOs to traditional MCs to riding clubs. The book Prospects Bible is in more motorcycle clubs. I never expected that. I never could have thought of that. And that award right there is culmination. And listen, man, there's been channel after channel after channel that's come on, attacked me, gone after me, said horrible things about me, but they couldn't stop the message that was going out. And the message was, hey, man, this is just how we're living it. I had no idea that they'd be doing the same thing in Israel. I didn't know they're doing the same thing in Brazil. I had no idea that this was something that they were doing in Jordan and Norway and Switzerland. No idea. I didn't know that the way we rode and did things in San Diego, where my club is from, is the same way that the invaders were doing things. And so the things I was talking about began to hit. And at first, when I came up, like, who is this black dude? Do black dudes even ride motorcycles? Are they even in, all kinds of shit. But it all changed, bro. I just kept writing, kept doing my message. And then here we are. And watching you guys, Dibber was the first. Dibber in the win. I saw Dibber. He did his famous Sam Crow. What the hell was that show?
Sons of Anarchy?
Oh, yeah, Sons of Anarchy. He did his famous Sons of Anarchy thing. And I was looking at that and I was thinking to myself, holy shit, that's how we live. Holy cow. I can do that. And then when Dibber found me, it was just Dibber and Big Cell from Fast Harleys Only. These guys, along with Dibber, they just took me in. And this is how you set up your channel. This is how you set up your show. One time my show was just bombing and crashing. Hollywood called me up laughing at me. He says, dude, you can't do all that on a laptop. You got to buy a real computer. And everything from my microphone, I had people walk me through this step. And Shaggy, that's what we're going to do for you, man. We're going to make sure everybody knows you're there. We're going to pump you up. We're going to big you up. We're putting you on our shows. We believe in what you do. We believe in what you stand for. And so we're going to push it.
But what I stand for is you, for all of it, the real guys. Guys like you who's got 30 plus years in a motorcycle club, regardless of what title you make it to. Man, I've met guys that's been 30, 40, 50 years. They've never been an officer. They're the party brother, man. They're the ones that you love to have a really good time with, and you're probably going to jail with. But you'll have a good cellmate, I came to the Invaders knowing that I'm on a whole lot of people's coattails. I owe them everything, because if it wasn't for them to keep that tradition from the founders of the club, because we don't have any founders left, but we got a couple 50-year members left and 40, a whole bunch of 40s and 30s. I'm the new guy, so I got to learn as much as I can from them. Just because I've been in this lifestyle 21 years, I wasn't an invader for 21 years. I've been an invader for 2 years. I've been a full patch just a couple weeks shy of a year. I've been around the invaders for 13 years, 14 years now. But, the founders, the elders, and all them guys that are in leadership positions, those are the guys that have worked their asses off, fought blood, sweat, tears, served time in prison, been through some of the nastiest wars on the planet. And they were all secret wars, which is funny. Today nothing's secret, but back then man, when I was coming up 20 years ago, I had no idea that all these clubs were warring. I was around 5 clubs, maybe 6 clubs. You know, 3 guys in one club held an entire state and lived on the Gulf Coast. So they covered 300 something miles. They were only one particular club there. That's how small our community was. That's how much times were different. Communication was something that was amazing, and we didn't have cell phones. You know, uh, I dig the old ways of doing things because you know what? As they say, you don't fix something that ain't broke. And
Well, I
there's
think
nobody that can prove me
Shaggy,
different. Go ahead, Hollywood.
I think you just proved my very point of why I still think that there's only certain clubs that can call themselves one percenters, and those clubs were the ones who fought and died for that patch. They went to prison, life sentences, and they lived through some very hard times. And I think you said it yourself. That's where my thinking has always come from. When I see people claiming Diamond and you know the history of the club, it's like, what the hell is wrong with people? Maybe I am old, but what's wrong with people where they can't see clubs like yours, clubs like AOA, clubs like the Hells Angels, Ditos, all them have fought for that diamond. Why are you watering it down?
Well, because true one percenters aren't about what the diamond is up front. This one right here, they're not about. They're about what's back here, and they're about what their brother is. This is a symbol of our lifestyle. This is a symbol of a commitment we took. This is our way of thumbing our nose at society, and people forget that. But we become the doms because there are certain things that must be done and must be controlled, in a lack of a better term, to keep from things getting cattywampus like they are today. And how it's gotten all sideways and everything seems like the twilight zone right now is social media, technology. Um, you know, it's a lose lose situation for the diamond to do what was expected 10, 15 years ago. Hell, 20 years ago, 30 years, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Damn. Just like I said before, the wars were secret. I had to read books about that shit. You know, the very first war I ever heard of was Laughlin. I was sitting at a hotel in Wisconsin when Laughlin happened. And then when uh, the pagans went after the angels there in
The casino?
no, yeah, the casino over there in was it New York City. I mean, it made national news. It's the only reason I heard about it. And I thought, well, I mean, I was young, dumb, and naive back then, but hell, we hear that shit. You hear people talk about that. It's about how much could you drink, how much could you ride, how much could you party, you know, fornicating with loose women, big orgies, big parties in the clubhouse. Shit was fun. It was fun. You loved your brother. You loved him unconditionally. You didn't judge him. And everybody's a politician, and they have no idea why they're in a motorcycle club.
So Hollywood, when you say there's only a few 1% show clubs out there, I have to agree with you. But for us, for me, I can't forget the black clubs, that 1% clubs, the chosen few, the Wheels of Soul, the Outcast, Hell's Lovers.
Sin City.
See, that's where, you know what I always tell my audience is I know the white set. I cannot speak on any experience with the black set, the mixed set. I was raised through the white set, so I think it's hypocritical to try to talk about the other side. That's why we got you, because you're in that one. And when I get a question like that, it's go see BD because I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid to admit I don't know.
Yeah, and I absolutely do know these were the clubs we looked up to, and these were the clubs that we patterned our brotherhood after, and of course the mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation, my club, 50 years old, and where we come from in San Diego, we were the top club there, and so we had great roots, bro. We had great roots, and so what I find that's beautiful is that there are great roots among us all, and we're all getting along better than we ever did before. Now I come from a mixed race club, but I've never had a problem with an only race club. I've never had a problem with a club that's all white or all black. You know, you ride with who your brothers are. I was in the Navy. You didn't get to pick your brothers. Yeah, that person.
I know what you're talking
You're
about.
on YouTube, man.
I knew what he was going to say. We've all been
Whoa!
there.
I've been off the air for a minute.
Yeah.
We we didn't get to pick our brothers. And one thing that I find really exciting is that Shaggy is a Navy instructor like me. I already know your show is going to be hellacious. I got to ask you this. Somebody asked this, Shaggy. What is the name of your show? We've done everything but say the name of your show. So, what's the name of your YouTube show?
Shaggy's Corner MC Life.
Shaggy's Corner MC Life, everyone. Shaggy's Corner MC Life. He's a brand new social media person, not a brand new biker. He's got more time backing up to the curb than a lot of guys got riding forward. So he's coming from the esteemed Invaders MC, a very, very old MC nation. And I'm amazed, frankly, that you're not catching hell from the brothers. For doing what you're doing, and I'm glad you have their support because you're gonna damn need it.
So I said at the beginning of this, I'm in a brotherhood. I'm not in a 1% club. I'm in a club that has a 1% diamond. I'm in the Invaders Motorcycle Club. I'm in a brotherhood. Brotherhood is first with us. I didn't think I would get a whole lot of support in the beginning either because it's something new. And we all know how new is with bikers, man. New is not good. Change is not good. And it's been kind of open armed. Brothers have called me and said, man, I like how you said that. I mean, this is, I think, second time promoting the show and stuff like that and going on other shows that I've worn my colors. Man, I'm wearing my colors and I'm proud to be an Invader. And that I've hit 1,000 subscribers, which I still don't know the importance of that, but it sounds cool, man.
It's huge.
Everybody's excited for me, you know. So I'm around some great people. I'm around some great brothers. And you know, we are sometimes our worst critics. But the great part about being an Invader is to be an Invader, you have to be able to be a man on your own, and you have to walk to the tune of your own and the beat of your own drum. Our founders said that. Our very first founder said that. And like I showed Hollywood earlier, you know, one of the things one of our nomads came up with, one of our well-respected brothers, a 47-year memory, you know, he came up with a life of chance for a breath of freedom. That's what we live every single day, man. I learn something new every day from these older guys and these brothers because, you know, the old guys are sick of this shit too. But the only one that can reach the young guys is somebody who's not overly old or overly young that don't know
Kind of
shit.
like you, BD.
So I'm in the middle, right?
Oh Jesus!
And I've watched just like you guys have that pendulum swing from the old ways of thinking. Like I was brought up by the 60s and 70s and 80s bikers, right? They're all dying out and going away. Well, one thing they always made me promise is, you know, keep that going. So I have. You know that movie Pay It Forward, man. I'm a firm believer in Pay It Forward. I don't want our lifestyle to end up in the pages of history of, you know, like the cowboy and Indians. Well, this happened from this time period to this time period, and that's it.
Shaggy, I think you got your volume turned up. Turn your volume down.
All right, let me figure out how to do this because this is all supposed to be standard. I turned up.
Oh,
How about now?
hey, no, I think you turned it up. There. What? No, something's
Now?
going on. I'm hearing. Is that you, Hollywood?
It ain't me.
Okay.
Testing 1, 2.
Well, that better not be me. Hello, testing.
How about now?
Okay, I think we're better. Shaggy, you need a hashtag. Somebody says we need
A
you- we
hashtag.
need a hashtag
My
for
favorite
you.
hashtag I came up with is somebody else fucking took it, which was biker shit. I'm always losing that $1 million thing, man.
Yeah, I've been using that a while. Here.
Well, Dyna Rider asked you, Shaggy. He says, "What do you do when you see new clubs popping up with diamonds?"
I haven't seen it yet because, of course, I have all the old guys, old clubs that's moving in. So I have 21 1% clubs in my state. As now I'm speaking as a COC chairman, I'm a busy guy with that because coming from where I came from, I was in a neutral motorcycle club, so I became the chairman while I was in that other club, and so being an invader, we're a neutral club. We don't have any partners. We don't have no brother clubs and shit like that. So we stick to ourselves, and so I can easily be fluid and talk with other clubs, and I don't get in their business or spread their business. But um, you know why? I'm one of those that believes we have enough clubs in the United States that there's something out there for everybody. Um, we're That's where everybody's talking about with the watering down thing. Everybody's putting on whatever patch they want to. Everybody's putting on whatever diamond they want to. If you don't know what the diamond means, if you don't know about Tecate, you don't know about the real true Hollister story. If you don't know about the old racing clubs and the sweater, stuff like that, you don't know that shit like that, man, take your diamond off because you're not a true diamond. If your club
No,
has
take
not
your
even
patch off. You're not a true patch.
right, right. If you haven't even broken a nail or you don't even know how to do the maintenance on your motorcycle, man, there's a lot of things that I was raised up with. And I wasn't in a diamond club in the beginning, but everybody had the same mentality, the OMC mentality. The diamond was where the status you were at. The OMC was Outlaw Motorcycle Club. You didn't listen to AMA. You didn't care about their 99% bullshit. Matter of fact, all this 99% stuff is new to me in the last year or two that I've really been getting into this and listening to all this 99 this and 99 that. And they're like, hey, Shaggy, you're in a 99. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck a 99 is, but I was in an OMC, you know.
Well, people don't know the history of the 99, and it was only one club that was supposed to be that, and that was the DC
DC
Eagles.
Eagles.
Right. Yeah. I
And
remember seeing
everybody
that back
went
on the
with,
fifth.
NFG.
you
Yes,
know,
sir.
the DC Eagles, but it seems that came out of the internet. It seems like it was taken over, and now it's put a wedge between what a 1%er is and a 99%er is. Me, I consider everybody a man. If you can stand there, do your thing. One thing that upsets a lot of people about my show, I'm Biker News. That's what I do. And they think that I'm actually picking on a wide range of clubs when I'm not. You know, I'm real big in the biker rights. I'm real big into the profiling stuff. And I cover it from an angle where, yeah, I try to give some some voice to the clubs, but at the same time, I come from the opinion if you're doing that stupid crap, you got guys out there fighting for rights and it's just hindering them. That's where I come from with my show.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't want your shit out on Front Street, evolve, learn how to handle that shit, and find the shadows somewhere.
I often
I
say if
mean,
you don't want to be on the news, don't do any newsworthy stuff.
Right.
well, I mean, I say it all the time. One percenters, and I started saying this about 4 or 5 years ago, right after I took the COC, got elected as the chairman of the COC, and I started going to these NCOMs and getting to talk with the big 1% clubs and their leadership and actually learning something, not guessing at it. Um, 1%ers had to evolve. They had to get smarter. Um, you can't just knock a patron out of his chair like you did 15 years ago because he disrespected you. You can't tear the bar up and throw everybody out except all the girls and lock the guys out and make them watch you fornicate their women. The fun shit we used to do back in the day. You can't go and clear the whole damn bar out, even the women, because you just want to hang out with your brothers and you're tired of all the drunken bullshit from these other people that are just civilians, but you want the bar because you felt like going out. You can't do that no more. Um, you can't go blowing each other's clubhouses up and murdering each other and shit like that because guess what that does? It hinders the profiling bills. It hinders, making life easier on us because law enforcement hates us. They hate our guts. Why? Because we're free. We stand our ground. We fight for something important. We're patriotic. You know, um, we love our brothers unconditionally. Man, police don't even love. They call each other brothers, but they don't love each other unconditionally. They'll rat on each other quicker than shit. Uh, the other thing too is the 1% world I grew up around with a long time ago. They didn't snitch on each other. Man, I don't understand that. You shut your mouth, do the bid, come out, and you get a party. You know, it's part of our lifestyle. It's a risk we take to be here. You know, it's part of that life of chance for a breath of freedom. Um, you know, it's part of that whole thing of, hey, man, we don't write all these rules down. We have all these unwritten rules for a reason. When they raid the clubhouse and pull out like the Congress of Library of our bylaws, well, now they know how everything's done. I mean, come on, guys. Uh, that's the frustrating part for me. You know, I was taught the unwritten shit, and I followed it. Right? I, I followed the pledge that I took. And when I became an invader, I took an oath that I follow that. The bylaws, the policies, the chapter rules, all that shit's out the window. That's a guideline. If I follow my oath, if I followed my pledge from my former club, I never had to worry about breaking the bylaws because that was the meaning, or that oath that I took, that pledge that I took, that I raised my right hand and said these things. It's core deep. You know, people have forgotten that.
Well, it's not the first time we took that oath, you know.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely right.
And I think they forgot that because our generation didn't pass on what the Vietnam generation passed down to us. And I think that's why I get in heated battles between myself and other creators, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, wait a second here. You only been around 4 years. I got skid marks longer than 4 years. And I'm still learning from guys that are 50-year members. And it's like, I believe something like that is going to hurt the people that are trying to learn. That's why I send everybody to Shaggy, because in my mind, he's from a hardcore 1% club. He's from the COC NCOM. So my thinking's a lot different than, say, a younger guy. And that's why I get into the tussles that I get into. Because I think it, and I believe it's important to teach people, instead of watching us, go up and talk to the people in the club. That's where I come from. That's why I get into the tussles I do. Plus, I'm an entertainer. It makes me laugh.
Well, you have credibility because of where you came from, but people have forgotten that, there's a difference between news and entertainment and the truth by somebody who's lived this lifestyle. And I'll touch on Sos the Ghost, man. I like that dude. I like some of the stuff he says. And, I actually had to look up why you guys were having your beef, but um, uh, in the same aspect, man, knowing a little bit of his background coming from the hood side of things and the gang side of things, and then the biker life saved him, and then talking with Black Dragon a little bit and learn a little more history. The dude, man, he's he puts a little more flair on it than or a lot of the gang mentality into it. Where that's where he loses me. Now, some of the like I talked to him on the phone on one of the things that he was talking about with veterans, and he's got good heart. He's got a good platform, and like I like to say in my show, I'm not the Holy Grail, but I'm the real deal. You know, the one thing about the white side is we are in our own minds, I guess, the purveyors of this lifestyle. We forgot about the motor maids. We forgot about a few of those other clubs that kind of beat, the Outlaws and beat the Angels and beat all the '60s clubs and shit like that. But the funny part about it all is I'm one of those that I just got to see every side of it. I know the black side. I love hanging out with the black side. I have to explain to my wife every time I go to a black party that I have not been to a strip club because all them women got to hug you and say hi and pay their respect. And they all smell nice and they do their best. But, um, you know, uh, people have forgotten And people refuse to acknowledge that it's 2021. I'm not saying integrate the clubs. I'm saying everybody needs to get together, get on the same page, go back to the way it was. The wheel wasn't broken. Brotherhood remains the strongest thing ever. That's why I love my club. That's why I love being an invader. Brotherhood is first. Politics, what the fuck is that? You know, you're going to have some guys that they feel like they have to be that. Whatever. Okay. It's unnecessary. Say the three of us are all wearing white. If I have to bullshit any of you two, one, I'm a liar, and two, if you all buy it, y'all a sheep. Being a one percenter is not being a sheep. It's being your own man. It's standing up on your own 2 feet and standing for what you believe in. That's what makes this whole lifestyle great. Every man I met 21 years ago, when I first got into this lifestyle as a young, dumb, hell bent to die young man, were all men that righteousness is such a powerful word, but not powerful enough to explain them.
Well, I got a question for you, Shaggy. I like the kid too. I actually had him on my show in the early days. I really like the kid. But he feels that my program is trying to put down clubs. What he can't realize is that I am a news show. I'm going to give an opinion in both sides of the argument. And one of my big things, and I'm sure you've seen it because it never happened 20 years ago, is a lot more independents, a lot more regular bikers are actually turning on the MC culture because they are tired of all the fighting. And you never thought you would see an independent biker go towards and support the blue, if you know what I mean. There was always that line. And now it's all skewed. And I think that's the biggest thing he doesn't understand is it's not all cookies and ice cream in this lifestyle.
So I'll answer it like this. We all have our ways of thinking. He's a new age, guy, man. He was taught the new age kind of stuff. His club's kind of a new age club, from what I understand. I don't know that personally, but that's what I understand. Um, what I've noticed with his show, it's about catchphrases, right? The holy grail of MC life. Um, I'm not a religious guy, but I know what the holy grail is, and I've been around some old dudes that would actually think that was an insult to MC culture. Um, but I dig it, man. It's a catchphrase, and I look at it as such. Uh, I think the thing that people, well, with this young guy is he's going off of what he's been taught. Every person that's in this lifestyle was taught something, right? They're taught how to do something, and it's not that you're putting the culture down. You're right. So I'm going to say this: if he thinks you're calling the MC community out, have anybody really listened to the words that I say on my show? I'm calling every fucking club across this country out. I'm saying, look, you've forgotten about the ways of prospecting. It's not easy. Not everybody gets a chance. It ain't everybody gets a trophy. Before a prospect prospects, there are requisites, right? Before
No, it's
somebody's
everybody
popular.
gets a trophy these days.
Right. Yeah,
But
that's what I'm talking about.
like in waffle ball or whatever t-ball, nobody can lose anymore.
See, that's the problem. The reason why this is so bloated, now I ain't gonna say it's watered down because I just refuse to say that. I refuse to say that there are guys that are wearing diamonds that shouldn't be wearing diamonds. That's an insult, man. You've talked about that, Hollywood, on one of your shows. But the fact of the matter is, this lifestyle ain't for everybody. And what I say is, I want to go into the deeper aspect of this lifestyle. Like, what is integrity? What is respect? If I got to teach you manhood, you don't fucking belong here. You don't deserve a chance because you got a motorcycle and you think you're Zeke Heil white power. What the fuck, man? We're not that about that. But if you think you are, that gives you the right to be in my motorcycle club. That'll give you a right to be in any motorcycle club. You know, it's about if you got to be taught how to be a man before you become while you're prospecting, and you actually make it through, you just added the weakest link to your chain. And then, you know, we've all seen it. It keeps happening over and over. Everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves the bullshit. There's requirements you need to have before you come here. And then to be a sponsor, there's requirements you need to have before you sponsor somebody. Check it out, man. Being a sponsor is just as inconvenient as being a prospect. I don't want you to call me on your goddamn phone every day. Get on your goddamn motorcycle and ride and come see me. And then once you've done that, we've spent some quality time together and I can teach you a little bit of shit. I want you to go find out where my brothers in my chapter live. And then go break bread with them and hang out with them, learn something from them. You know, the thing about motorcycles clubs, whether they're national or they're one chapter clubs, the tightest you're with is your chapter. You're with them every day.
Yeah, I'm afraid of your show, man. You're gonna shit. Hollywood, we got to put a block on this guy.
Well,
that's why I'm glad I'm in biker news, man.
Holy, he's just
I'm passionate about this because this is my life, and I was taught by the best. I had some of the greatest people in this lifestyle put their arms around me.
I interrupted you. Go back to prospecting and hanging around. Go back. Don't let me. They need to hear this.
So to be a prospect, you got to meet certain criteria. But to be a sponsor, you know, not everybody's made to be a sponsor. Not everybody's, you know, they're great brothers, but they may not be great teachers. They may not be able to communicate to get to that individual. We know as instructors, man, we have to figure out our room quickly so we know how to curtail, how to say something to one person or say something to the next person, right? If you can't live on the fly like that, you might have a prospect who could be the next national president of the club. But if you're not giving him every ample opportunity to learn from you and soak up that knowledge and soak up that ride time and soak up that brotherhood and learn what I am my brother's keeper means. If you ain't got somebody that can teach you that, it's just, hey, man, go get me a beer. Hey, go tell that chick that's over there in the corner to come over and, you know, blow me. Or, hey, man, hey, I need you to go run to the store and get me a box of, you know, tissues because my nose is running. Come on, man. Prospects ain't slaves. Prospects are your future brothers. All that stuff that we make them do, prospects, you guys got to understand, it's about attention to detail, learning your brother's needs, learning how to be selfless, learning how to serve your brother. You know what makes us different from gangs? We love each other. We're not killing each other. We want to see each other. We want to ride with each other. That's what makes everything so different today's day and age. Everybody has gotten complacent and lazy. And if he thinks you're calling clubs out, hell, I'll call him out. I'll call anybody on YouTube out or I'll call any clubs out if they want to sit down and talk about it. Man, all we got to do is sit back and just listen to what somebody says. Whether it's me, whether it's Black Dragon, whether it's you, whether it's Sos, whether it's Wild on Two Wheels, whether it's Dauber in the Wind. Listen to what they're saying. Take a deep breath. Think for a minute. Think about what the man's saying. Apply it to what's going on in your environment. See if it applies. If it don't apply, let go one ear and out the other.
So you can tell that 80s boot camp training. You said that ATD word, man.
Attention to detail. 95 when I went.
That attention. Oh, that's right. Oh, they were still using
before the stress cards and all the sissy shit happened in
Oh my God. Wasn't that about 95?
No, that was 98, 99. I remember seeing a stress card. That's the funniest shit I ever seen.
But that attention to detail word, man, you know, all we did in the Navy was when I was in boot camp was fold, and God help you if you didn't fold right, because it was attention to detail, and you needed that. You needed that when you were out there operating that multi-million-dollar equipment. Crooked D asked, "Hey Shaggy, what's your thoughts on one sponsor prospecting two prospects at the same time?"
It's fucking stupid. You know why? You have to give one guy every bit of attention. You have to spend all that time. If you're sponsoring more than one person, you're cheating somebody. Somebody. It's like they say the twins in the womb, man. One always comes back out born weaker, and you got one that's stronger. You know, I don't give a shit what guys say. Oh, there's no favoritism. Bullshit. We're humans. Come on, man. The human psyche don't change. Should never sponsor more than one person at a time.
You know
Ever.
what, Shaggy? I think Thomas just came up with a good hashtag for you. Uncle Shaggy. Pound Uncle Shaggy.
Uncle Shaggy. That
I'm the guy that
I
teaches all
like
the
that.
kids bad shit.
Oh, I like that.
Pound Uncle Shaggy.
Uncle Shaggy.
I don't know about that, man, because in the 1% world, you get pound Uncle Shaggy. Some prostitute's going, where's this fucker at? I'm going to fuck him up. And be just my luck. I'm sitting in the bar having a good time. Me and my wife, we could be celebrating our 20th anniversary next week. And next thing you know, I'm getting pounded into the ground by this big ass prospect. Hey, pound Uncle Shaggy. Well, that was a joke, man.
Pound Uncle Shags, someone said.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man. So
And by the way, Dragon, our deal, you know what? I get tired of schoolgirl shit real quick. The entertainment value has been lost on him, so I'm just gonna sit back and chill.
Oh, I can get entertaining. We tell some old stories. We'll get through the educational shit, and then we'll get down to the real nitty gritty about how brotherhood's built. How's that?
Well, I'm
okay.
talking about the entertainment value as far as me going after him going after me. It's boring to me now.
You both have something great to offer. Uh, it's unfortunate he's out of his club. I personally, if my brothers came to me and said, "Look, man, it's either the YouTube or you're out of the club." Um, First and foremost, I'd give up the YouTube, boy, but I'd fight my brothers. I'd beg them, look, this is a good thing we're doing here. Uh, but if they were that adamant, brotherhood's first and the club comes first. And I doubt that would ever come unless I really crossed the line and did something wrong, and then it'd be my own damn fault. But um, you know, that beef between you and him and what he said, his opinion, all that shit like that. I listen to both sides, but you know, his club has his reasonings, and one thing you don't do is put yourself out there to get your club attacked, and that's one thing I ain't gonna do. I mean, somebody attack me all day long, but they better be very careful about attacking us.
Well, he's new at this. He's new at this. He's new at the club. He's new at being in a club. He's new at this biker lifestyle. 3, 4, 5 years is barely a journeyman at this,
That's
and
not even getting started.
and he's new at social media, and it's something that I could have told him, because it it and it is going to be extremely damn difficult to run a social media platform and wear a diamond. It's extreme. Oh, whoa, we lost him.
You lost Shaggy, man. You lost the main attraction. What the hell you doing?
He, you heard all that noise? That shot. There he is. He's back again.
Wow, that was quick. Holy shit!
There you go.
I
So
got the white screen of death, man. You just blew.
we,
But
we
that's
we
the
heard a
old. That's the old operating systems.
we heard a bunch of noise and then you were out. But it's difficult to run a social media thing and be in a club. First of all, you want to do biker news and you're in a club, you're affiliated. So the first big club that gets pissed off, your national president's going to get a call. And the second big club, and I've been through this. Now, for me, and my club wasn't happy. But for me, I was the national president. So, I had a different um, path, but it was still just as tough. Hollywood was, Hollywood has been through this. It's very tough to do this and be affiliated. It's one of the toughest things you ever want to do.
So one
And
of the things that I do is I call my chapter boss quite often. Him and I talk, and I call the national boss, and I question him. Is there anything that you feel is inappropriate or out of line. And communication is everything, man.
So then we bring up the second thing, and so if you're me and you're a news channel, I ain't calling nobody. No one will affect my news, or so you think. It can be tricky as hell. So I'm not. I'm not. Um, who is that Asian girl that went to go ride with the banditos?
Oh, Lucy Liu, not Lucy
Yeah,
Liu, but damn, what's her name? God damn it.
I
She's
want to
been
say
around
Chloe
forever.
Chung, but that's a little bit too early.
No, I think it's probably her daughter. Fuck, what was that chick's name? I
So,
don't remember.
but she will never. They're never going to call CNN. They're never going to call CNN and say, "Hey, Lucy Liu, blah blah." They're not going to do that, but they will call my club or his club or your club, and then we bring up the third thing. When you do this for a living, and this makes your money, and this is how you pay your bills, then somebody telling you what you're going to do on your channel, that becomes a no-go. So now you have to decide, you know, entertainment value versus what people are going to watch versus, because I promise you, you do 100 shows about motorcycle clubs giving toys to kids, and you're going to have 100 blank videos with no views. You
Lisa
do
Ling.
Lisa Ling. But you do one video of a fight in Laughlin, and you're going to have more views than you can count. So there's becomes a dichotomy. Like, am I selling out? Am I one of his shows? He always talked about being a culture vulture, but then you find out that maybe you're the same culture vulture you were accusing everybody else of being, because as you start to run out of content, there are so many times he attacked me in Hollywood for doing news, and then all of a sudden he was doing news. And it's because you start to run out of stuff you want to talk about. It all comes into a big circle, and you find out, whoa, we all got to do the same damn things. We got to do the same things. It's just how do we cover those things, and so um, when your club comes to you and says, it's either the show or the club, uh, you might have to tell the club, I'm sorry, bro. I feed my family with this. You can't put that on me.
Well, I was put in a position like that where I was told I couldn't talk to other clubs. And these were clubs I highly respected. Yeah, there's the brotherhood there, but at the same time, I had goals that I have to achieve in my business. Plus, I wasn't looking at the patch, I was looking at the people, and the people that represented those clubs. I wasn't going to bail out on them because then I'd be a fucking hypocrite or a freaking hypocrite. So at some point, you got to do what you got to do, just like you said.
Well, what I did is I had two things that was very hard for me. One was severing the cord from my former club, and then two, drawing that line in the sand. And what you guys are talking about is, man, there's that line in the sand. And biker news is one of the things I don't want to do. And I have no interest in doing because I don't like bringing our illustrious bad side out, because every society's got a bad side, and the MC community has a very bad side at times. Um, we have a very violent side, and people have forgotten uh, until they hear the news constantly. Like, I asked my dad a long time ago. I said, "Was shit in this world so bad back in the day?" He says, "Yeah, it absolutely was, except we didn't have the 24-hour news cycle." Well,
Mm-hmm.
now we got a 24/7, 365, and however many seconds are in a day news cycle. Um, it isn't pre-recorded anymore. It's being at the minute, right, go just as it happens. Uh, you know, I don't like hearing some of these stories, but like I said earlier, um, I was taught to operate in the shadows. I was taught to handle business professionally. I've been taught that for 21 years, and I'm telling you right now, the club I'm in now was very adamant about staying out of the limelight, staying out of trouble, staying out of the cameras. Like we don't like our pictures taken unless we say it's okay. Um, Damn sure don't like to be videotaped. Uh, Wearing a patch anymore is justification for any law enforcement agency to say you're in a gang, and they're trying to use that. So none of us can serve our brothers in prison. None of us can serve our brothers dead. None of us can take care of our families in prison. I will protect my brothers. I will protect my family with my life if need be. However, if I'm going to wear the orange jumpsuit, I'm jumping right over that. I'm going right to the white jumpsuit. I'm going to make it worth it. I'm going straight to death row. Uh,
Oh,
I ain't never coming out of there.
there's a white jumpsuit. I didn't know that.
Oh, there's one. It's called death
I never
row.
seen the white jumpsuit.
You know,
Listen, we got a question here. Jace Ria, I believe. I know I'm saying that name wrong. Forgive me for murdering your name.
I
Uh,
do it all the time. Don't worry about it.
Black Dragon, do you think some MC protocol has hurt more than advance our culture? What do you think about that, Shaggy? Has some MC protocol hurt more than advance the culture?
the made up shit, yeah, absolutely. The old stuff, absolutely not. The old stuff um, was about the secrecy. You know, hell, the Freemasons are secret about everything. The goddamn Boy Scouts are, secret about everything. Um, we had everything unwritten. That's why you always hear about the unwritten protocols, the unwritten rules. It's funny to me that you have to put in your bylaws, don't bang your brother's old lady. Really? Or how about this? Don't steal from your brother. Or hey, even better, don't touch anything of your brother's that ain't yours unless he is giving you that okay. Or how about this? Don't fuck with their family, period. You got to write that shit down. We didn't need that back then. That was, wait, check this out. I said I was bringing this back. This is my favorite thing. Common sense back to this lifestyle. We didn't need shit written down. Um, I think the new protocols, I'll tell you, there's a few of them. Uh, One is the gloves and the sunglasses. If you're outside, yeah, you always take your gloves off, shake a man's hand. But there are those occasions, especially in the 1% side, where a man don't take his glasses off, he don't unbutton his vest, he's got his gloves on. It's for a reason. Okay, one. Two, if you're outside, I have never had anybody say, "Hey, dude, I ain't talking to you till you take your glasses off." Now, if you go inside a clubhouse or you go inside of a bar or something like that, take your goddamn glasses off and your gloves off and shake somebody's hand. Unless you're there for the reason why you're there, security. Okay, you're not the approachable one. You're the one paying attention to everything going on. The other one is I've seen videos. I find them entertaining and I find them educational at times, but I have never once heard about and never been taught about um, this deal with passing somebody or a club on the interstate. If you're on a 3-lane interstate, 3 lanes north, 3 lanes south, I always paid respect by waving at them as I went by, but I never once asked permission. And if they're going to chase me down, I was told this by a 1%er when I was young in the club life, when I first heard about this. And he said, we don't own the fucking roads. I mean, if you're going to pass, these guys on these crotch rockets, man, they pass like you're standing still, and them damn exhausts are scared the living shit out of you. Uh, but um, if you're passing another club, and I've done it a million times. Hey, I throw my hand up, wave at them. Sometimes I'll give them an old Z Kyle, or I'll give them a fucking whatever respectful wave. If it's a club that I know, man, and maybe there's people in that group that I know, I'll wave at them as they go by. We got to understand in pack rides, we ride a little bit slower than normal because, especially getting in big, long packs, you want to keep from getting that accordion effect, man. You kill your brothers real quick. So I'd never heard that. And there's a whole lot of guys, especially in the YouTube videos, make that such a prevalent thing to say and prevalent thing to talk about. How you go to the back and the road captain or sergeant arms should be back there, man. I like riding in the back, and I'm just a regular member. I like riding in the back because, well, the accordion effect. you know, uh, I rode in the front too long. I'm still adjusting fire.
I actually made that. I was one of the first ones to make one of those videos, and it's one of my biggest videos. Um, but having been around the country and opened up chapters all across the United States, someplace that's a big deal, someplace it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember I had this guy from the Outlaws. He was so upset. What the hell is a road captain? I didn't even know what the hell that is. And he was so mad, and we wound up becoming pretty great friends. But there are certain things we talk about that you just don't see here in this spot, and that was another thing I had to learn, is that MC protocol is local, and because I've
Regional, very
opened up,
regional. Absolutely.
yeah, it's local. It's like politics, and I've opened up so many clubs in so many different places. Sometimes I forget, like, oh yeah, that's a Chicago thing only. So another thing I've had to do with my show is, I've had to do what do you call in the beginning? I'll give these
Advisories.
these disclaimers,
Yeah.
advisories. Like, okay, listen, this is just Black Dragon's experience. This is only what I've seen. You may have seen something else. God, whatever you do, don't go running into your church talking about Black Dragon said it, and so because I've gotten calls from presidents. Hey man, why are you doing that? So I've had to tailor it down. Like, I am not the oracle of all MC knowledge. I'm just telling you what my 30 plus years I've seen out here, and it might be completely different from what the hell you've seen. And this is why, Shaggy, I'm so glad that we're going to have more diversity and inclusion in this shaping of the young MC souls. It won't be just Dibber. It won't be just Hollywood. It won't be. So we got these young guys coming in. We have the and I'll tell you
I would say invite them on and have a roundtable. Invite Sos, invite Dibs, invite Wild on. I really like him. I like Big Cell. Invite us all and let's talk.
we have to, because another thing I found out is that we're all talking to the same audience. All these people over there on my chat over there, they're gonna be tuned into you, Shaggy. Then they're gonna be tuned because we could have a whole station. These people that love this stuff, they can't get enough of it, and they're gonna be on Sosa's channel one day. They're gonna be on Mike Ball's channel one day. They're gonna be on
Popeye's channel.
Wild on Two Wheels. They're gonna be on Popeye's radio channel. They all watch us all. They're going to be on Big Cell's channel. They all watch us all. They're all our. We share this audience.
And for the political stuff, I really recommend going to listen to Popeye and OG because they know a lot that's going on legislatively. They were right there with me covering the Waco stuff when that happened in 2015. And I really want you guys to go over there and visit them as well. But yeah, I say, hey, bring Sos on, bring all these other people on, because I've always said it's better if we have everything. Because Shaggy would say the same thing. The only thing we had in the 90s was we had to wait a month for Easy Rider magazine to come out to know anything going on.
Right, and nobody paid attention to the articles until it was, too late.
You were taking a crap.
Yeah. Or
and I started
overextending your time with the big picture in the center.
I started my own motorcycle magazine. That was how I first got into this, because I was pissed off at Easy Rider because they wouldn't have any black chicks in it, and I was like, well, what the fuck? We don't have any. Oh.
Man, I was in the Navy. My brothers don't want to hear this, but I was in the Navy. It's all pink in the middle.
So, yeah.
One thing my
I started my own.
My listeners
That's how
had
we got
for
into
you,
this.
Shaggy. They had a question for Shaggy was, do you believe MC supporters are causing you guys that are actually wearing patches headaches? Especially on social media. I see that all the time.
No, and here's why. So you brought up a point that's going to probably lead me down a quick rabbit hole, but it'll be quick. I'm not a fan of support shirts, but then I am. I'm not a fan of support shirts because a lot of people who wear them think they are who they're supporting, and I've run into that a lot. Now, if you've got a good, support base, and they know and they've been told, man, they'll tell you in a heartbeat, hey, I'm not in the club. Hey, my brother's mama, sister, friend is a, whatever. That's fine. If you're up front, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get screwed with. There's been times where supporters have been told, hey, man, you're in the wrong area. Turn that shirt inside out. Don't take offense to it. That's just part of this lifestyle. Um, uh, I don't I don't think supporters are the issue, and the reason being is just like with members, supporters can be put in check by the clubs too. Like if I see a supporter getting out of line, I'll tell you, hey man, you're not an invader. You don't speak on behalf of the invaders. I can't speak on behalf of the invaders because I'm not at that level. So don't claim to be one,
Now,
because
what
then you have to
about
deal
the
with us.
clubs that sell this stuff online and they go out there? You don't know who the hell they are. They're going out there causing problems and stuff. Next thing you know, they get pinched. And like in my deal in my show, you'll actually have newspapers and cops saying they were associates, but the club never knew who the hell they were.
Well, that's actually pretty easy, and the feds ain't gonna like this, and a lot of the new people ain't gonna like this. It just depends on their mentality. But that's what happened when he took our extracurricular activities away from us, and we couldn't ride motorcycles. And the stories I've heard back in the day, pimped the side bitch out for a little while, make a little money, so you get down the road a little further. You take
Mm-hmm.
the fun away from us. I mean, shit, we had to get jobs, and well, the club's got to make money somehow. I mean, I'm gonna here tell you right now, I'm in a poor motorcycle club. I mean, I pay my dues, and I buy what shirts I can, and our supporters buy what they can, and it's not about the t-shirts and stuff, but some clubs have gotten big enough to where they can do that and make a righteous, hey, as far as I'm concerned, it's a righteous way of living. Um, the other thing too is, a lot of those clubs that use that money or use that the sell the t-shirts and all that shit like that, and they collect them big money. Look at their donations every year, man. A lot of people get on the Angels because they have a huge marketing thing with their T-shirts and hats and stuff like that. But look at what they do with the bicycles, man. Every year they post a video. They buy every goddamn bicycle on Walmart's, and they donate them to kids. And one of the COC chairmen out of Reno I met, he's also an NCOC member. Um, he was talking during the INCOM meeting when it was his turn to talk about Reno's uh, the State of the Union type thing, Nevada's deal. When he got to the part where the community of Reno, not just the bikers, the community of Reno donated like $30,000, $40,000, and these angels will stand in line for days and days and days. Man, I'm just happy if I can just donate an unwrapped $10 gift to Toys for Tots. Some this last couple of years have been miserable for a lot of us, but I haven't got to donate as much as I used to. But to see those kind of stories like that, they don't realize that a lot of that money goes towards donations. A lot of it goes to frivolous lawsuits, from the feds and from the government trying to, you know, get them for whatever they can. I mean, um, I, I think I think people take the support shirt and the support this and the support that to a level it shouldn't need to be taken to, because it's just, we all do it. It's all gear, to make just a little bit extra money to do something a little extra for somebody else, honestly. And the other thing too is a guy wearing somebody's support shit, if he is acting inconducive or not in accordance with how that club would want their supporter to act, then he deserves whatever the fuck he gets. And it's time that shit's said. If an invader supporter is acting out of line, I can assure you, you don't have to beat him up. You don't have to talk cross with him. Call one of us. We don't tolerate that. Um, we'll have a sit down with them and find out where their head is. Alcohol is not a reason, or drugs are not a reason to make an excuse for your actions. You're held accountable as if you were sober. You should know better. Uh, supporters that wear our gear and supporters that wear any club's gear should understand that it's just a support shirt. They're helping to pay for something else, and they're representing a club that they respect and they like, and that's it. They're not a part of the club. If they want to be a part of the club, hang around, ride your motorcycle, prospect, earn the respect of every person around that table that's voting for you, and become a member. Until then, you're just who you are. It's just a T-shirt. It's just a bandana. It's just a wallet. It's a hat. It's a pair of tennis shoes. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't think for supporters. I think it's an excuse. It's an excuse to blame somebody else for your incompetence or your complacency. That's all it is. And that's the one thing I love about my show, and I hope everybody else does, is I don't play that game. I'm not going to play the blame game. I'm not going to play the complacency game. It's about getting things right.
Can you explain to them kind of what NCOM is and what it's about? Because many of these other channels don't talk about it.
So, INCOM is the umbrella, which is National Coalition of Motorcyclists, over most COCs. Now, when I say it that way, it doesn't mean they collect dues. They're just the big board, the big national guys, right? Everything Richard Lester does, it's on his dime. He gets the money that all these lawsuits come in from. The profiling, the tickets, the accidents, the shit where they're screwing with bikers all the time. So INCOM has MROs that are a part of it, like ABATE, Freedom of Road Riders, which is here in Missouri. You have the Motorcycle Rights Foundation, which is out of Washington, D.C., the big picture. And there's little pockets of this MRO or that MRO. There's a whole lot. It's hard to beat the name. I have to go get all my cards out of my house in there. But it's about getting together and talking about the legislative stuff nationally, the legislative stuff locally in different states, comparing what one state does with another state, or what one COC did to help get something passed in their state that might help another COC. Getting somebody like a big speaker like Double D to come down and speak how he does the motorcycle profiling thing. Guys like me that will get in there and talk about the motorcycle profiling thing and how important it is to take that survey, which if all your listeners go to mpp.com, takes like 5 seconds, take a survey, it's 5 or 6 questions, blow that thing up. That is information that's taken from bikers, for bikers, to help us with motorcycle profiling, puts cops back in their place. However, INCOM is about getting together and figuring out what we can do to make our lifestyle a lot better and a lot less law intrusive. Meaning, things that have come out of INCOM, things that have come out of MROs and MRFs, stuff like texting and driving. In a lot of states right now, if a texter is texting and he runs a stop sign and kills a biker, it's just a ticket. He ran a stop sign. I want to push for something along the lines of it's like a DUI. I watch people all the time when I'm riding my motorcycle. I'll pass them; they're buried in their phones, and they're weaving over in your lane, man. I'm known to punch a driver's side door or a passenger door. Boy, it wakes them up real quick, and then they look at you like you did something wrong. No, you're about to kill me. That's an important thing they're working toward. The autonomous vehicles, man. The autonomous vehicles are crazy. It's insane. They can detect a dog. They can detect a bicyclist. They can detect a car and truck, but they can't detect a motorcycle? Really? Really? That don't make sense to me.
Now, historically, it was mostly, and this could go back a long time, but historically, it was mostly white clubs and stuff like that. Is the black set starting to get involved in it?
Actually, historically, there were black clubs involved, but even back, like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm just lost in time or anything like this, okay? So 21 years ago, when I joined this life, I was in southern Mississippi, okay? My former club, I was a part of 5 different chapters. I helped start 3 of them, right? 2.5. It didn't become a chapter till after I left, but I helped lay a lot of the groundwork. But there were no black clubs in Mississippi. When I went to Virginia and transferred up there were no black clubs up there in 2003, 2000, yeah, when I transferred up there, I didn't know any black clubs. Never seen any of them. All I knew is the
Well,
Renegades
there were black clubs there.
were
Uh,
there.
yeah, there were black clubs there. You might not have seen them, but we've been around
Well, that's just
in every state.
until I homesteaded in Missouri and started the Missouri chapter for the armed forces. Um, the first black club I'd ever met was Sin City, and there's a guy here. He's been a Sin City guy forever. He's very well known, great dude. Um, love and respect the hell out of the guy. He's well known from my club. He's well known from all the 1% clubs here and all the other clubs. But he was one of the first guys I met. Well, then years later, I met Outcast, and one of the guys that is a former founder of that chapter and he's a founder of that chapter and a former president of that chapter here in St. Louis. Him and I are pretty close to best friends. We talk all the time. Matter of fact, the first time he pulled up to my clubhouse when I was in the armed forces, I looked at my brothers and said, "Man, big old black boy out there, fuck this all about." So man, we walked out, baseball bat. We didn't know what the hell. We could hear his radio 2 miles away. I mean, his stereo was so loud. He come out and we're like, "Dude, is there something you want?" He goes, "Man, I've been driving by here 5, 6 times. I figured I'd stop in and introduce myself." Well, I just handed my accidental off to the brother and said, "Man, I tell you, pay respect." Walked up, shook his hand, and we've been close friends ever since. Um, First time the Invaders met the Outcast was with this gentleman, and I was the president of the armed forces at the time, and I had all young guys, and the Invaders used to come to one of our parties, and 3 chapters deep, and uh, when they would pull in, they're pulling in the park, and all my young guys were going, "Oh shit, man, there's gonna be a race war out there." You know, there's 2 outcasts out, an outcast and an outcast prospect, and there's like 40, 50 invaders pulling up. What do we do? I'm like, man, the invaders are professionals. 1%ers are professionals. The outcasts are professionals. Watch what happens. They shook hands, had a great time all night long. We had strippers. It was a good time. We drank till our heart's content. And to this day, there's a good communication between the invaders and the outcasts. And that's because they're professionals. You know, I was opened up to a whole new thing on the black side coming to St. Louis because where I had been before, I'd never run it. Matter of fact, I'll tell you the first time I met the Outcast. It was before I had met the ones here in St. Louis. I was a truck driver. It's story time, people. So I'm in Bessemer, Oklahoma, or excuse me, I am in Talladega, Alabama. Bessemer is the mother chapter, which they say is Birmingham, but Bessemer is where the Outcast started. And I am at Precoat delivering a coil. I was a flatbed truck driver. And I'm standing there on the end of my flatbed, and there's this great big, I mean, mandingo black. This dude was fucking huge. And he's wearing a black shirt with a big white diamond with a big white 1%er in it. And I'm sitting here thinking, this is how stupid I was. This is how naive and dumb. This is how left brain I was. I go, man, this dude's wife has gone to uh, the free place and got this shirt for this dude. Because all us truck drivers back then, man, we loved the free stuff, and our wives always got us free stuff because we could tear that shit up. I kept thinking, man, this dude got this free shirt from, one of them outlet stores that the free stuff, like, shit, I'm drawing a blank here. I pissed on it. Anyhow, and this dude doesn't know what he's wearing. So, in my big mouth and uneducated self, I said, "Hey, man, you know what you're wearing?" He's kind of looked at me. He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you sure? Where'd you get that shirt from?" And of course, it said OFFO over the sleeves, which that could be Outlaws or Outcast. I didn't know. All I knew and never heard of was the Outlaws. Never heard the Outcast. Didn't know they were started in '69. Didn't know it was a Black Panther thing. Didn't know they wore all black and had all black motorcycles. Shit, I know now. I didn't know then. Remember, guys, hindsight's always 20/20. So I'm like, "Hey, man, do you really know what the fuck you're wearing?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm a 1%er. I'm an outcast." And I went, "What the fuck is an outcast?" The only outcast I know of is the white guys, and you look far from that. And he says, "Man," and he explained his club to me, and I looked at him. I was like, "Dude, I am so sorry. I apologize. All like Goodwill is what I was thinking. Your wife went to Goodwill and got you a free shirt or some shit like that. And he looked at me with one of the most educated looks and such tolerance. He said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Gulfport, Mississippi." He said, "Explains a lot." He said, where we started is right up the road here on 20. And I think it was 74 that run through there. It's Bessemer, Alabama. He said, "We claim Birmingham. Bessemer's our town." And I was like, "There's black clubs?" That's how dumb I was. And this is shit 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
See, I didn't know any of the black clubs except the East Bay Dragons, and I didn't know about Black Sabbath until I talked to freaking Big D or a BD.
So, it's amazing because the clubs probably didn't start hanging around together till about 2004, because my club is 50 years old and the Chosen Few are another 10 or 20 years older than that. And you could go East Bay. I mean, there's just so many clubs I could name, even clubs here in Atlanta. The Born Losers are Jesus, 60 years old or something. Um, um, the Golden Hawks. I mean, I could just go club after club after club. The thing is, there's a few things to know about the Black Set. First of all, Black Set was always outlaw clubs. And why was that? Because AMA wasn't taking you in. AMA didn't allow black clubs in until somewhere in the 90s. So
maybe even later. Who knows?
Well, it was 95.
Really?
And about that time when well, they had some clubs in. Let me not say they didn't let any, but it was not a big thing. There was only one or two black racers on the gypsy racing circuit, and they always went through hell. So it was we had our own world. We didn't mix. It's funny. I mean, I didn't know, like you didn't know who the outcasts were. I didn't know who the outlaws were when I came over here. I saw the OFFO, and I was like, are there are there white outcasts? And then
See, I'll say the same thing.
then he turned his back, and I saw, I was like, wow, I was completely blown away. And when I came out with Prospects Bible, and we're only talking 2014, we're talking 7 years ago. When I first got on, it was so racially separated. If you go back to those early videos, there was the most racist crap you ever saw. This black guys don't ride motorcycles. What's an N-word doing with a hog? All this kind of mess. When I first came in to clubs,
the nicest people are on a Honda.
When I first came into clubs, you couldn't buy a Harley. They wouldn't sell it to you in Oceanside if you were a black guy. They wouldn't see it. They would tell you, "Hey, why don't you go buy another Suzuki like you just rode in on?" All kinds of stuff like that. We saw this, but we were here. We existed. We rode. We had we had a set. And so when I first started doing these videos, to be honest, I thought I was talking to black folks on the Black Set. And when I first started, that's exactly how I was treated. Like, most people didn't know there was a Black Set. And I was like, who is this guy? Who do you think you are? My first books that I wrote, some of the top older white guys would write on my books. I don't know who the hell this guy thinks he is, but he don't know jack. And those guys, their clubs now, when I ride into a store or whatever, guys that were from clubs that wrote that, their guys surround me and circle me. So it's the truth of something that you're saying that gets through, and it gets through. We are people. As much as we might not know that, we are people, and so I believe the internet and all these things are bringing people together. Nobody heard of my club. I
did call Biker Boys. That's the first time I heard of your club.
Yeah.
I was like, does Ozzy and all these guys know that Black Sabbath that's got to be made up? And then they had and then I was told no. Matter of fact, I was educated pretty quickly how many real clubs were in that movie.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Well, you know
And I
what? You
met
bring
him.
up
I thought that
something
was
good
cool.
too. The way I thought, and I don't know how Shaggy would think, was the whites always went the whites, blacks had the black clubs and the mixed clubs, and we never really went each other's way. That's the way it was in the 90s.
I
We
didn't
didn't go to each
know.
other's parties or, but
I
on
didn't
the,
know black side, white side. I only knew biker side. You know, like I said, I came in Mississippi. There's only 5, 6 clubs there. You know, that was it. And then when I went to Virginia, up there at Vol Beach in Norfolk area, you know, the Renegades run the show up there back in early 2000. So it was just 5, 6 clubs. And then when I left there, went back to Mississippi, then Katrina happened and we came back to Missouri. Missouri was the eye opener. And then, you know, just so everybody knows, I was raised in Arizona. Born in Missouri, but raised in Arizona. I wasn't taught racism. I didn't hear the N word until I was 12 years old when we moved back to Missouri. You know, I was always the guy that, you know, was kind of the race against, you know, because I was white and there was Indian and Mexicans and I was different. And so when I came back, I didn't understand that. And then when I moved back, being from the South, you know, living in the Southwest for so long, moving back to Missouri, they're like, "Man, you're Mexican or something," you know. And so I got a nickname like Chico, and I'm like, "Man, I'm fucking born in Columbia, Missouri. What are you doing? I mean, an hour and a half down the road, and you're calling me Chico like I'm a Mexican." Of course, I had that Southwest accent, and then I
Well,
went to
that's what I was
military.
saying is BD's right. The internet's actually brought everybody in the different sects together.
Well, for me, it wasn't the internet. For me, it was Incom and then COC, and then a Sons of Silence guy that was here, and this Outcast guy. We all were at a party at Armed Forces Clubhouse when I was the boss there, and we're sitting there talking one day, and we're like, you know, we need to at least break the barrier down. We ain't got to integrate the clubs, but break the barrier down because there's a bigger picture here. And then I did my first proc convention
you
here
went
in
to the
St.
proc?
Louis. I was invited to speak at the proc.
I'll be darned.
Actually, somebody's probably got a video of it because I did see a video afterwards. The whole way there, my sergeant at arms was freaking out because I'm making jokes like, "Hey, should I start it with what's up, my inwards and shit like that?" And he was like,
No,
"No,
you
don't
shouldn't have
do
done
that."
that.
And I was like, yeah,
You wouldn't
well,
have made it out of there
I
with
was
that
invited
one.
by the president of the Outcast, you know. So I walk into this room and there's 400 people in there, and they're vice presidents and presidents. Um, and I sit down, and there's a board there, and some of the guys were from the Golden Eagles, and that's the one with the eagle on the full eagle on the back. Yep. And then there was some outcasts there. That's where I met the two at that time surviving members of the East Bay Dragons. I thought it was Black Sabbath guys because I got you mixed up with them. But I met them two old guys, and then I guess a month later the one
Yeah,
died.
yeah.
Those are cool guys to talk to, man. That was some cool shit there. I was very privileged for that. Um, Again, I'm a guy who is fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. But about 3 hours into this meeting, I'm about to come out of my chair. I thought I was invited to talk about COC stuff. Well, I was actually invited to talk about history and protocol and knowledge type stuff, right? So my sergeant at arms was looking at me and he's going, "Boss, sit still." And I'm looking at the outcast brother that's sitting there, who's my close friend, and I'm looking at him like, "Dude, what's going on here? Why don't these people? What is happening here?" So finally, the dude that's actually running this, I don't remember his name. I'll never forget his face, but he was wearing the big eagle, and he was from L.A. and he used to be a blood. No, he used to be a Crip, and him and I had a blast that whole weekend after that meeting. But he says, "Man, Shaggy, you look like you're about to come out of your chair. If somebody hand him the microphone." And my boss or my sergeant goes, "Boss, please, whatever you do, please be gentle. I only have 2 magazines, 15 rounds apiece, 15 rounds in the clip, and one in the hole. That's all we got to get out of here. And we're in a room of 400 people." And I'm like, It'll be all right. So I get up and I start talking, and I'm like, the first things out of my mouth is, hey, man, there are 400 presidents and vice presidents. So 200 presidents, 200 vice presidents in this room. And I said, you guys are either support club, but the only 1%ers are in here are the outcasts. So you guys are support club of some kind, but you guys are all wearing patches. You guys are all in leadership positions. I said, I have a 30-day prospect standing outside that door right now who knows more about this lifestyle than any of you do. And he deserves to have a patch over all of you. And one of the guys raises his hand. I said, yeah, man. He says, that's why we're here. We want to learn all of it. We want to know. And I looked at my buddy and I said, hey, man, what gives? What's the deal? That's your job as the 1%er to be teaching these guys or making sure they have this information. He goes, that's why I learned the black side is very different from the white side, from what I'm told. They have to earn that kind of stuff. They have to prove their way. They're not given everything at once. And then my favorite question, and I can't help but not leave this out. So this one dude stands up, and I think he was a cop. I'm not sure. He's a great big tall guy. And he says, I'm in a mixed club, and some of us ride crotch rockets and some of us ride Harleys. And he says, the guys that ride the Harleys won't ride with us. And there was a black speaker at that time, and he just didn't touch that question. So I'm going back and forth, question and answer. And I talked for about 45 minutes. But about halfway through that 45 minutes, it dawned on me that dude asked that question and nobody answered it. So I said, I stopped in the middle of what I was saying. I said, boom, the light went off. I said, hey, man, who's the guy that asked the question about why I'm in a mixed club? We're all brothers. The Harley guys won't ride with us crotch rocket guys. And he raised his hand. I said, man, I got an answer for you since nobody wants to answer your question. And he was just happy. Man, there's this white dude standing in here. We don't know anything about armed forces, but man, obviously he's somebody because the outcast brought him in here to speak. So we're going to listen. And he was just excited that I was going to answer his questions. I said, man, I'll answer your question for you because you fucking guys that ride them crotch rockets are idiots. You ride 1,000 miles an hour. You ride wheelies. You block the whole goddamn interstate. You get attention of law enforcement, and God love you. Thank you. You're idiots, but thank you. I can ride in a pack of 200 at 100 mile an hour with my brothers, and the cops ain't fucking with me because you guys are being stupid. And he sat down, and I mean, that guy got lower and lower in that chair to the point where my sergeant arms looked at me and goes, dude, I think he's grabbing for a gun. I was like, you better be ready then.
And by the way, guys, BD's put this on, so give him some super chats, man. Give him some love. Give him some donations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
One thing I got to say about the black clubs, man, they know how to party better than us.
Yes, they do. And respect. Here's the thing about black clubs. My first party I went to, Outcast boss took me there. I was by myself, and we're sitting at a light getting ready to turn on the road we're going to. And next thing I know, I look back behind me, and there's probably 100 motorcycles. I just kind of looked over at him. He's like, they see the patch on my back. We good. I said, yeah, but they see the patch on mine too, and I'm white. So we turn, we pull in, and he gets off his motorcycle, I get off mine, and everybody's coming up to him. Boom, boom, boom. Every club, everybody's coming up to him to introduce themselves. I'd never seen that before. And then every old lady's coming up there to introduce himself. I'd never seen that before. And he looks at all these people that are standing there, and he says, you see that white boy right there? He's with me. You will treat him as if you were dealing with me. Well, that meant everybody came and introduced themselves to me. And this is where I told my wife I was not at a strip club. Every old lady came and hugged me. I'm going to tell you about the white side. You don't touch our old ladies. Our old ladies ain't hugging you. Our old ladies ain't talking to you. Our ladies ain't introducing themselves to you unless we say so. And that's if we know each other well enough to, hey, man, I will introduce you to my old lady. The other thing I noticed is we go into the hall. And everybody, there must have been 40, 50 clubs in there. I know at least 2 1% clubs. Everybody's having a blast. And I looked at my outcast counterpart and said, look, man, if you get 2 to 3 1% clubs in the same room, they're going to be goddamn fighting here. Because somebody's going to look at somebody wrong. Somebody's going to say something wrong. And, to all the white clubs that are listening to what I'm saying, challenge me on it. I've been there, seen it. man, somebody doesn't introduce themselves right, protocol's not followed properly. On the white side, we're very, very strict about the protocol, or we used to be. Today's day and age, not so much. But the thing with the black clubs was the respect thing. And I asked about that. I was like, why are all these women coming up to me? I don't want, this isn't how I was taught. And I was told that on the black side, respect is very well held to the highest esteem. That I can respect.
Yeah, you're gonna absolutely be hugged
Yeah.
by everybody in our party. Everybody is going to hug everybody, men and women. And if you have someone like a wife or something that's not on the set, you have to make that explanation. I wasn't at a strip club, and I wasn't. All these different perfume smells on me. Everybody hugged me.
I took my wife to the second party just so she could see. And then I was exonerated, but that was a month later. I had a month of hell.
So it's and that was the difference that I noticed in the white clubs when I was going on the white. And so, what made me have to deal with the white set was this idea I had of spreading the Black Sabbath across the country. Because in California, we were probably 35, 40 years old by the time I started moving the club across the country. So I went to states where there weren't black dominance. And we had never seen that before. We had never seen a state with no black dominance where you're going to deal with the OLs or 81 or something, that 16s. You're going to deal with somebody that you'd never dealt with before. Like, in Florida, you're going to be dealing with these folks and these folks and these folks. And as we started moving across, so about now, just about every state will now have a black dominant. But when we started moving across the country, that still had not occurred. So I had to make my agreements with the other side to get my club in certain places, like, for instance, Colorado Springs or Topeka, Kansas, or something like that. So it was way different 1%, but the lifestyle was the same, and the things that we learned and the respect that we learned, it still carried over the same. We spoke the same language, and we still had the same tribalism and the same writing culture. So, a lot of guys would be like, who the hell are you guys? Where the hell do you come from? But they'd make their calls back to the West Coast, and we were good. So as I started speaking, as I started teaching, and then this internet thing is kind of blown up, and it's not so uncommon to see somebody from the other side. We actually party now. We go to each other's parties. We hang out. We know each other. We're on the same shows. And I think that's important. I think it's important for the culture. I think it's important for what we're going to do, because we're all facing the same situations from law enforcement, same situations from neighborhood watches and people that don't want our places in their communities. We're facing the same scrutiny from politicians, news and media sources that make money about talking about the things that we do negatively. They sell ads, and the reason I got into biker news was like Hollywood used to say, the biker angle, to talk about, okay, they say we did such and so, but really, if you're Lisa Ling, you see this. If you're Black Dragon, you see this. So I wanted to be able to, fight for our collective rights. And you weren't going to get 1%ers to say a damn thing, which was not good. Because if you can't, you got to be able to fight that battle. And so I'm glad that we have people like you now that are going to be on, and you're going to be bringing the common sense protocol. I sit here. It's almost like a record to me. I'm just sitting here laughing. This is all the stuff I've been talking about for months and months and years and years. And
well, if you remember, we spent 2.5 hours on the phone, and it was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I
And
got a question from one of my listeners. BD just texted me. Hold on a second here. Shaggy, do you believe some of the one percenters bring on the problems that they have by law enforcement?
Do I believe that the one percenters bring on the problems that they have by law enforcement? That's I don't I don't actually know what they mean by that. I mean, are they saying that in the context of the club's got law enforcement in it, and that's why it's causing the problems, or is it law enforcement
Basically,
pushing
what
the
I think
club?
he's saying. Basically, what I think he's saying is because, of course, I'm Biker News, and this is one of my listeners. The stuff that they see in the news, and then clubs will, you know how business is out in there,
So
but
let me say this.
how there's shootings and stuff like that is basically what he's saying.
So let me explain news. Let me explain media when it's bikers. Okay, the quickest mistake that's made is the act that happens, right? But the media, the news, the constant barrage of this happened, that happened, that happened. Let's keep it at the forefront, right? They take it's like a rumor, right? You take that little bitty tidbit. Hey, oh, hey, old brother, fucking big balls. He actually has small balls, right? And then by the time that rumor keeps going, old brother, big balls is going to shove his small balls somewhere where they don't belong. Wait a minute, that's not what it said to begin with. That's what the news and the media does. Um, I think what law enforcement's doing, and I think what the government's doing, is they're trying to infiltrate the club scene because they're trying to get rid of us. Because guess what? Look at our local news. Look at all these factions that are coming across this country in the last 5 or 6 years. Well, we'll say it started, and this is controversial, but I don't care. I'm right here in the heart of everything. When Mr. Brown got killed here in St. Louis, Black Lives Matter was started. And, what was that other one? Antifa or whatever the hell it's called was started here. And they started burning down cities and towns. And what was bullshit is they did it to their own areas. I mean, they made it a mile and a half from my house, and they burned down Ferguson. Ferguson's a very neat little town. They burned it down for what? So you get these headstrong mentality way of thinking, right? So then you add the biker lifestyle into that. Everybody thinks that the bikers, because we're so patriotic, most of us are prior service members, that we're going to stand for that red, white, blue no matter what. And we're not going to let people burn our towns down. We have our political views, but we're a conglomeration of mutts in this country. We always will be because we all were at one time from another country. And that's what makes us great. But the problem is today's society wants you to think their way, period. Bikers don't think that way. We think in the way of patriotism and freedom, our brotherhood, loving each other unconditionally, riding till the wheels fall off, riding and living on a razor's edge, doing what we want, whether we it's illegal by society's norms or not. And I think the country's tired of it because they're all sheep. All those people following Antifa and Black Lives Matter, they're sheep. They're following a political narrative. Bikers don't follow into that political narrative. We follow we walk to the beat of our own drum. We are the last of the real men. We're the last of the free people. And this is our country. Yes, we hate society's norms. However, when society's norms become undescribable, unrecognizable, and the world we live in today, my dad and many others have said it right. It's the twilight zone, man. You're looking out the airplane window and you don't know if there's a gremlin out there or not. But the fact of the matter is, we're still Americans. We're not going to agree on everything. Put politics aside, whether it's club life or it's outside of club life with society. Put politics aside. I don't give two shits what color you are. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're gay. I don't give a shit who you are. Be yourself. Don't put your beliefs onto me because I'm not going to put my beliefs onto you. I don't need to see every goddamn commercial talk about the queers and the Viagra and on top of the HIV shit. I don't care about that. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have seen that shit. It's happening in the biker community too. We don't prospect no more. We don't have hang-arounds. We prospect in gangbangers. We prospect in cops. We prospect in this, or we just allow. We patch over this club or patch over that club. Patching over was a special thing back in the day. It was a ritual. It was a something that club did that just impressed somebody. You know, bikers are they're the fist, man. We are hard as a rock when we are tight like this. We could take out anything. But now we pull guns on each other. Now we blow each other's places up. Now we do all kinds of gangbanger shit. Man, I love my brothers. I love them unconditionally. I get slanted for that from time to time because I even love the ones that don't know. And I do it unconditionally because what I was taught with my club is brotherhood, family. Never heard that before because everything I did in my former club, it was my own mentality that got me because I wasn't listening to everything else. I joined a club that was really young 21 years ago. And by the time I left there, I became an elder. And for anybody who's ever been an elder, you know what it's like to become the minority. You know what? Bikers are not the minority. We are the last free people. And I think the government hates that. I think the cops hate that. I think all these gang task force hate that. I think that guy, that admin one that texted me or sent that message in about gang.
Oh, there he just left. This is an awesome episode, BD.
Yeah, I mean, we got 148 people on.
You know what? I say get the rest of the creators on, host them at your end, man.
I think so.
You know what? It's not so much about the founders and the creators and the. I don't know. What do you mean when you say creators? That always confuses me. I'm used to saying the elders or the founders.
Well, the creators on YouTube, like us, you got Sos Ghost, you got Wild On, you got
media. We're social media creators. That's what we're known as. Content creators is our official title. That's what you are now, my friend. You are a content creator.
So we get the rest of them on, and I think it'll be a very informative thing where we learn from each other. Me, I got to learn about, and I'll say it, man, I got to learn from the new generation because I'm stuck. You know, it's like Twilight Zone to me right now. And maybe somebody like Wild On or even Sos the Ghost could teach me something about the way they think because it's foreign to me. Where I understand BD and you perfect.
Well, those guys are what's hot.
I gotta say this real quick. I rarely get these, but this shows just how strong my brotherhood is. Brother Biggie, fucking right on. Thanks for enjoying the show, man. Invader, Zeke Kyle.
Rock on.
It's awesome. I love hearing from my brothers when I'm doing the show. That lets me know that they're in, that's the support I'm talking about. That's brotherhood, man. That's what my club is about. That's what every club should be about.
I love Biggie, man.
Yeah, he was just over here. He was just over here.
Yeah.
He's a fun dude. But, we can all get together. The problem is some of the creators that I've seen that caused me to do what I'm doing now are not going to come to the table like I did tonight, like I will do every time I sit down with my brothers at church, like I will do every time I sit down when I'm negotiating, something to do with the COC or something to do with income or something to do with NCOC. I come with a clear mind and an open mind. Some guys just got to have it their way. When I see that and I hear that and I run into that, I have to remind these young guys, I've wore out the back heels of my boots backing my motorcycle up before they've ever gone forward. I am very conceited and stuck up about that. I have earned my goddamn way. However, in the Invaders Motorcycle Club, those brothers that are 20, 30, 40, 50-year members, those are my gods, and they earned their way. And, you know, uh, they need to understand that they came to. Here's one for you, Black Dragon. You and I talk about this. You and I talk about this Hollywood, but your listeners have not heard this. So for everybody listening out there, I have a very simple question that I'm going to ask you. Ask you all. I want you all to think about this when we're talking about an open mind. I'm an invader. He is Black Sabbath. He's a former Black Piston, but just say he was still there. You are a friend of the club that has come to us, one of us, to join our club. You like what you see. You're down with the brotherhood. You want to be a part of that. You're going to give it your all. Okay? I'm down with that. So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to pull you in and I'm going to sponsor you. I'm going to get you through your hang around period. I'm going to get you through your background check. Then I'm going to make sure that everything's cool there. And then I'm going to sponsor you to prospect you. I'm going to stick my neck out for you, knowing that you could fail me and make me look bad. But I believe in you. So I'm going to give you a piece of me to carry on for the rest of your life in the club. Now you've patched. You got 2 years, 3 years in the club. But all of a sudden you think the club needs to change the way you see it. My question is for you. Hey, motherfucker, you came to me to join my club. Who the fuck are you to change anything? This has worked for 56 years. This has worked for 50 plus years. Who are you to change anything? Because check it out. If you change the foundation of a club, if you change the club's meaning, you change the club. And remember, you're here because you wanted to be here, because you liked what you've seen. Who are you to change a fucking thing that isn't for the future of this club, to make the club better 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? Who are you? Tell me that shit don't happen every day. That needs to stop.
You went off, BD.
We can't hear you. We lost the host.
Lost the host, man. See, he goes up and messes it up. He had to go play with the little trinkets.
Hey, it worked though. We got the golf clap.
Man, you put it down, man.
Well, I've seen it so many times. Being an elder in one club and being put in that position.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now
Yeah,
we can.
hear you now.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. He just can't hear us.
This is when you talk about that one time you had the chick in the clubhouse and you tried to tell the brothers not to use the carrot.
So what upcoming videos do you got, Shaggy?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think your headset died. Is it plugged in?
Can you guys hear them?
Yeah. See, this is why you don't put submariners in charge of shit. Because they get down in that water and they're breathing that fake air for all that time. It does something to their brains. Take my cheap jabs where I can get them.
So what videos you got coming up? Why he tries to work stuff out?
Actually, there is one that I'm trying to think. I wrote it down, and now I'm drawing a blank. See, you put me on the spot now.
Too much fireball.
Well, no, actually, that was only probably about 3 shots. And I just take a little at a time so I can stomach it. Although while he's figuring out his microphone, I'm going to grab a cold beer. Anybody else want a cold beer? You just got to come to St. Louis to get it. But it's Busch. The owners were Busch, not Budweiser. I'll be right back. He's trying to figure it out too. I love to see when they're frustrated. Can you hear me, Black Dragon? Can you hear me?
We can hear. He's over there freaking out.
Somebody. Look, that last mushroom I told you not to take, but you didn't want to listen. There it is. We're out. I'll be right back.
All right, man. What, I got to entertain everybody, man? So how you guys liking this stuff? And you got any questions and stuff for Shaggy? Make sure you guys go over and check out his channel, Shaggy's Corner MC Life. I think you guys will really enjoy what he puts on over there and stuff like that.
There he is.
You back, Dragon? You are the host. You're making us work, man. Now your mic ain't working.
This is what happens when you don't do a 15-minute video. You do it so far 2 hours and 5 minutes, and it's worth. I can go all damn night. I don't care.
Right.
This is biker shit right here. This is brotherhood. This is how it should be. He's got that look like. What the? This is such a good app until just now.
No, what happened was he put on he did that trinkets, and I think his mic's off on the board because we use boards on our stuff, and I think he hasn't hit the button yet.
Well, hold on a second. I got some paper here, so we'll write him a we'll write him a saving grace, because this is what we do with them young E1s in the military.
Right.
You take out a white pad. And for those that are prior military, they'll understand it. You take a white pad out, and I don't have any green crayons out here, but I will do this.
Oh my goodness.
We can hear you. Dude, it looks like he just got kicked in the nuts. And he's seeing stars or something.
Let's see if this will fit in here.
Microphone works. Sound doesn't work. What the hell is going on?
You got to leave it to him, man.
Button on.
We can hear him.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be a Black Dragon show unless there was technical difficulties.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We can hear you. Okay, so the microphone works. I just can't hear y'all. So what is going on?
It wouldn't be me if I didn't make one
My comeback show. This can't happen during my freaking comeback show. Hollywood, do something.
Hey, I'm taking over here for you. You're the host.
This would never happen to Ice Cube. I'm just saying.
It would never happen to Ice Cube. Somebody tell him to plug his headphones in.
Oh, I could do that list too. Hold
on. We can hear him, but that's it.
And I haven't even got to the list to fuck with him yet, so we got plenty of time.
So you guys got any questions? Start throwing them, man. Throw those questions out. Don't forget to get BD some freaking super chats. Sounds like he needs new equipment right now. Plug your headphones in.
He's figuring something out.
Plug your headphones in. We can hear you.
You got your headphones in?
There's all kinds of people.
It says that my sound has lost connection from the internet.
Really?
So the only way that I can hear you.
I can hear you right now.
Damn.
Like talking to me on the phone.
I'm talking to you on the phone. But I can't hear you. How can this happen on my comeback show? This is some bullshit.
Hey, this is a biker run event. Something's going to go bad.
Test your audio.
Yeah, I just did that 5 times.
Good to go. I can hear you.
And you're the one that told me to use this stupid platform. This is your fault.
Well, everything was working until you went to the trinkets.
You do one
I had to hit,
and fucked everything
something.
Up.
What the hell did I hit?
So,
how about unplugging and
who's
plugging in your
while they're
headphones?
figuring out the technical difficulties, this is how real epic biker shit starts. This is how stories start.
Now Shaggy
about
has
that
to take
one
over
time.
the show.
Oh yeah.
But hell,
We're
he's
gonna
doing
do
a
this.
good job.
So, funny story. Since we're waiting, man. Let's see. What would be a good funny story that I could get away with? I'll tell you, traditions, right? we all talk about these traditions. There's these patch traditions. There's these um, traditions for when you got your prospect cut or lee or rag or whatever they call it. They used to pour beer all over you and motor oil and good God, whatever else. I've been through all that. So when I patched out 21 years ago, we used to have this tradition of the center patch for the armed forces is an eagle. And the tradition used to be you have to climb a tree to get your eagle because an eagle perches on a tree. Nothing soars above an eagle. An eagle is the top of everything. So there's this eagle that would be nailed to the top of this tree. Well, I made it clear from day one as a prospect, I'm scared to death of heights, and I ain't climbing no goddamn tree. But what I failed to tell everybody is, even though I like to dive, I like swimming with sharks and all that good shit like that. I don't like the cold neither. So I prospected for damn near a year with armed forces, and they have a very strict prospecting deal, and that's the way it should be. And they're an old school OMC, and that's where their club was founded. Um, I had heard almost since day two about this upside down boat in this brother's pond. So I every day, through the summer and then spring or fall and then winter, I'd be looking in that pond, looking for that goddamn boat because I just knew something in my gut told me I was going to be flipping that boat over, and it's always the most inopportune time because it's all about tradition. So the night I patch, we're in southern Mississippi. There's no snow. There's no
Your
ice.
mute. Your
There's
mic's
only
muted.
there's only
Your mic's muted. I just see it.
leaves and red mud.
But
And they're like, all right, prospect, get down to your boots, your boxers, and your cut. Okay? Because every prospect's dumb. They will do what they're told. It's 30 degrees outside and misting rain in Sausalito, Mississippi. So I do that. And the one guy, patch member, says, hey, man, we don't have snow down here. Drop down and make leave angels. So what do? I drop down and make leave angels. Whoever's from southern Mississippi, explain what red
that is
mud
crazy.
and red dirt is. For those that know. So after making leave angels, I stand up and now I am covered all over my back with mud. Good old Mississippi mud, the shit you get stuck in. Like Cousin Vinny was talking about that Alabama mud, same shit in Mississippi. Well, then it comes to, hey, Shaggy,
That track is
you need to go get that upside down boat or canoe that's in brother so and so's pond. Shit. So I go and start running towards this pond. Now, this pond is a pretty good sized pond with a huge ramp that the kids in the summertime dump their bikes off into. So what do? I run to the top of that ramp and I stop. Why? Because I'm scared of heights, but I'm not scared of the water. And it's 30 degrees and misting rain outside. And so what do? I jump. Fucking got attacked by a damn bug. But so what do? I jumped right in the center of that pond when everybody is screaming, no! And I go right to the bottom of the pond, and there's no boat upside down in the fucking pond. I'm swimming around like a dumbass in my underwear, my cut, and my boots. So then I noticed this little plastic boat at the end of, like at the edge of the water. And I swim over there, grab the boat, and instead of listening to attention to detail, like me and Black Dragon were talking about earlier, I grabbed the boat and swam back to the other shore. About halfway across, one of the brothers yells, hey, man, you're sinking the boat. You're Navy. You should know better than that. I said, I'm a Seabee. We don't do boats. Fuck this boat. Let it sink. So I get out, and I'm shivering. Now I'm hypothermic. Bad hypothermic. I held 2 records in this club. One, I never hung around. I prospected the same day about 3 hours, 4 hours later after meeting the club. And 2 is after all that hypothermia, I went and tried to warm up, got dry clothes on. Then I was told prospect via the water, which meant I could put a foot in, walk around the pond, go get that Cool Whip bottle over there, or the Cool Whip bowl over there, and bring it back in. Now that I've been explained what via the water means, I have now 1 foot down, freezing to death still. Picked up Cool Whip bottle, come back. They said, all right, open it. I opened it up there, my eagle was. So I went to go sew my eagle on. I'm so happy. I'm elated. I'm going crazy. I'm crying. It's the most emotional adrenaline rush ever. I was shivering and shaking so bad that I couldn't put the needle, the thread through the needle, and I couldn't even sew my eagle on. My old lady and the brother's old lady who made me jump in the water sewed it on for me. So any good armed forces history, anybody will tell you, Shaggy never hung around. Shaggy never sewed his eagle on. True story. And it was still fucking cold. I was freezing for 3 days. Black Dragon, you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right. Yes, we can.
So I went to my external speakers. I don't know, something happened to my board. I don't know.
You clapped for me.
I clapped and
There it is again. Now we go to the external speakers.
I don't know. Hey, but I can hear you now. Damn.
So while we're waiting on Hollywood, I actually have a list of shit here just for you.
Uh-oh.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
So I watched your interview with Wild on Two's vlog there. So you're from Lawton, Oklahoma.
I was born in Huntsville, Alabama. My father was I was an Army brat, and I was
Explains
born.
the Navy thing because I was an Army brat too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot. We share a lot in common. So I was an Army brat, and I was born in Orlando, Florida, at the Air Force Base, and spent my first 6 years in Huntsville, Alabama. My parents got divorced when I was 6, so we went back to my mother's home of origin, which was Lawton, Oklahoma. So
Tornado Alley.
Absolutely. I spent my formative years in Lawton, Oklahoma, where I actually became a storm chaser working for as a volunteer for the American Red Cross at 14 years old. I was driving Red Cross cars at 14 years old, chasing tornadoes and building shelters and or establishing shelters and helping people out, first aid, CPR. There was a whole group of us in high school that did this. And so Lawton, Oklahoma at Fort Sill. My dad was Army, so I grew up on Fort Sill pretty much. And, of course, the Indian reservation around there and that sort of thing. So, yeah. And then moved to Oklahoma City and went to high school at Old Classen in Oklahoma City and joined the Navy there.
Right on. So I'm going to ask you a tough question.
Uh-huh.
So in that interview, you said pretty much from the minute you met Black Sabbath that you knew you were all in. From the jump, you were all in. What is it that you saw that brought you all in?
So I'm a man who was a boy that grew up without a father, and I didn't have any brothers. And my cousins were all women except for my two. I had two boy cousins, and they were young.
You know how close Oklahoma is to Arkansas, right?
Oh yeah,
can't talk like that.
Oh shit. So when I went to California, I was when I first on the submarine. I was an E5 on the submarine, and I qualified all E9 watch stations. Mm-hmm. So I was qualified chief of the watch, duty chief, and for an E5, this was quite unusual. Diving officer, I'd qualified all these extended watches. This like on the boat, I was like a chief. Mm-hmm. And so then I transfer with all this power, and like I could sign any qual card, and I was just a master asshole. So I was a trainer on the boat. I was just a major jerk, and I had this swagger on the boat. So when I transferred to San Diego, I went from this bull E5 to I'm on a surface Navy base.
You're nobody.
I became a absolute nobody.
Mhm.
And and it was the surface Navy, so it wasn't this compact submarine Navy where they're looking at your dolphins and you're somebody. And the so I went to school, the Navy IT school there in San Diego, and there was a senior chief there that asked me and another guy to clean the heads, and I was like, bro, I'm a submarine qualified E9 watch standing, uh, super qualified submarine sailor. I'm not cleaning no effing heads. And this was the submarine Navy. The surface Navy. You didn't talk to a skimmer senior chief like that.
Right.
And he was a white guy from Mississippi or something, and he had that twang. And I was just, like, why are you asking me to do the heads? I ain't doing them. And so at that point, and then my best friend Keith Corley, that had come off boats with me, we were both E5 standing there, and at that point, he says to me, your career is over, right? You can't just tell me no. And I was like, he goes, we'll send you back to sea. Well, back to sea, I was a king.
That's right.
So I was like, hey, man. Oh, no. It was like, send me to the briar patch. Like, oh, no, not back to sea. I was ready to send me back to sea right now.
Not
back
where I belong.
Back to sea, I run a submarine. Here, I clean heads. No, I'd rather be a king in hell than
That's right.
Or you know what I mean? I'd rather be a king in hell than a head cleaner.
Because that was hell for them, not hell for us.
Right. So the senior chief was like, he had these two black kids, and we were very disrespectful, and he really thought about it a long time before he just ruined our careers, because we had incredible careers in terms of all the things that we had accomplished in the submarine Navy. So he understood we came from a special forces kind of group, and we were just a little bit prima donnas. So he called a senior chief by the name of George Clark, and Senior Chief Clark was a black senior chief in charge of the jobs unit. And he told Senior Chief Clark he had two salty E5s that the senior chief needed to correct. So, so he sent us over to the senior chief's office, Senior Chief Clark. And I remember, we were in our dress whites, and I remember going into his office, and I didn't expect him to be a black guy. And we walk in, this is a black guy, and very disrespectfully, I sat down and put my feet up on his desk.
Oh boy!
And I
you
said,
"So, coffee cup."
I said, "So you're the black guy they gonna send to get us brothers right? They're gonna send the token black guy at us." And he leaped from behind his desk all the way over the top of his desk, 2 feet into my chest, and just started wailing. So my brother Keith comes running, and he turns around and just knocks him in the kingdom come.
So you met a real senior chief.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Black Dragon.
Yeah.
No. Steve Dillon has a question.
What's that, Steve? Steve, honest question. No disrespect intended. Why do some 1%er clubs wear Nazi emblems and have their clubhouses decorated with Nazi regalia? That's for you, Shaggy. Why do some 1%er clubs wear Nazi emblems and have their club houses decorated with Nazi regalia? Is it for shock value, or do they share that ideology?
Both. So I'm a firm believer that the way I live is the right way, and the way I live is off of tradition. I was raised in a very traditional household, and therefore that carried on with me in my life. And so I wear them for shock value. And I do know guys that wear them for more than just shock value. But the main reason they're wore is to keep squares away, to keep the public away, to to offend people so badly that they just stay away. Bikers don't like the public. They don't like society for a reason because we don't get in line with their shit, man. We don't agree with all these frivolous laws we have. We don't agree with all the sheep mentality. You know, in this lifestyle, there's two kinds of people. There's predators and there's prey. And I can tell you right now, um, it's not what you wear that makes you a predator, but it is what you wear and what you do and how you carry yourself that makes you prey. And one percenters that are predators, hell, they ain't even one percenters. It can be bikers in general that are true predators. Uh, they can see who the prey is. I mean, it's prevalent. I mean, a guy can walk around, yeah, I'm an alpha male, I'm this, I'm that, blah, 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 blah. That's the first guy that I like to go after because guess what? He's prey. If he's all talk, he's prey. Swastikas and SS Lightning Bolts were war after World War II because these guys came back with PTSD, but it was called shell shock or it was called battle fatigue, right?
Or battle shock.
Or battle shock, yeah. And they joined these clubs. The Angels were started in 47. You know, the Outlaws back in 33 or 35, somewhere in there. So when they came back, all they had was this core of what they knew was true, which was brotherhood. And it was very, very, it was very off to itself. It was very private. It was very away from society. It was very just secluded, and that was perfect for them. So when they decided to go out in public, and they decided to go to these bars and shit like that, people were like, oh, they're dirty, they're this, they're that. Well, they got tired of calling them dirty, but even though they were, they wanted to scare them more and psych them out more. So they were like, well, what was the whole world just afraid of? Hitler, Nazi Germany, Russia. I mean, I've seen guys wear Russian emblems. I've seen guys wear all kinds of stuff. But back then, in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and even into the 70s and 80s, when these guys were wearing this stuff, it wasn't a racist thing. That came with the skinhead movement and all that, white power shit that came out of prison, and that's that. I mean, that's history that I'm not a part of. I believe in the biker part of it. I have friends that I'm like I consider brothers and sisters, and I got informed that, hey man, you're really upsetting the sister because you're wearing that stuff because she's Jewish. I never dawned on me that I was upsetting somebody I love and care for, but in the same aspect, I do love and care for her, but she knows who I am. Uh, there's no ill will to her. She's family. But hell with everybody else, you know. The ones that have it on their clubhouse, I'm sure that it's probably for shock value, and I'm sure that for those that do have it on there and it's not for shock value, um, there's a very good reason why it's on there, and they know that reason. I don't. I've never seen swastikas on a clubhouse before. That would be a first for me. I have seen swastikas and SS lightning bolts on buildings of white supremacists. But I don't believe the biker community to be white supremacist. I don't believe them to believe in that shit. Some of them do. I mean, some of them cold. I mean, they're deep in their bones. They believe that there is the white, master race. Um, to each his own, man. That's what makes America great. As much as I may disagree with it or agree with it, we all have our opinions. Um, Let it roll off your back like water off a duck's back.
So
Well, you know what? A lot of eccentrics in there. Not many clubs wear the bolts. A lot of them wear the bolts, and it might come to surprise you that I've seen some blacks wear the bolts too.
A lot of
so
outcasts
so
do.
so someone asked me, what do I think about it?
What do
And
you think about it, bro?
well, so I was watching a karate movie many years ago,
I love where you're going with this.
I used to watch the Saturday karate movies, and
Where
man,
they talk, where their lips are moving, but you can't hear.
bro, that was my stuff, man. And I would practice the, yeah,
And never fight like that.
and then never once did I have the dance down. But so I'm watching this movie, and it's about this monastery, and this is before, these guys are riding on horses and stuff. So it was way before 1945. And I noticed that this guy's got this swastika on his back. And I was just immediately thrown off. But it dawned on me that, this was in the 1800s, and the swastika as we knew it today didn't come about until the 1940s, 1930s with the Nazis. And I came to realize that it was a symbol that had been adopted and brought into Nazism. It existed long before Nazism, and so did those lightning bolts and so forth and so on. And then one day I ran into the Chingalings Motorcycle Club, and those brothers and brown folks were wearing swastikas on their backs. But I had been around long enough to know that every symbol doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. So what do I think about it? Well, there was a guy I was in the Navy with. And when I used to go to bed in boot camp, I used to go to bed, and he would look at my ass. And every night he was looking at my ass. And I got upset. I was like, why are you looking at my ass? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? And he said, I just want to see the tail. I said, what are you talking about? I just want to see the tail. And I said, what tail? And he said, my grandfather told me at night black people grow tails, and I just want to see it. This guy was serious as a freaking heart attack. I said, I tell you what, Jody Lee, you can look at my ass all night. If I grow a tail, then your grandfather's right. But if I don't grow a tail, you tell your grandfather he was a lying SOB. Well, of course, we didn't hit it off.
I bet not.
In fact, we fought that night. But Jody Lee and I came to be stationed in the same place. And we would go down to Tijuana together. And this was in the 80s, where whenever you went down to Tijuana, back during this time, you were having sailors coming up dead because the border patrol would kill somebody, and then a sailor would get killed. So it was off limits. You couldn't go down there, and that's exactly where we went. And so this one particular night, we were down there chasing ladies of ill repute in a ill repute house.
No. And no, not a responsible sailor. No.
And I don't know if you were in San Diego in the 80s, it's not the San Diego downtown, was not the San Diego of today. It was nothing but whorehouses and strip joints. They rebuilt that whole place in like 95. But in the 80s, it was worse than Norfolk. It was worse than the strip in Norfolk, Connecticut. It was terrible. So we were down there, and we get into this fight. The locals, we were down there, and one of the women stole Jody's wallet or something. And so we get into this fight. And at some point, we're surrounded by locals, young Mexican guys. And some guy pulls out a knife. Oh, no, it was a stripper. She pulled out a knife and was just getting ready to go into Jody Lee's head, straight into his head with a knife. And he threw his arm up, and the knife went through his arm. Well, I grabbed her, threw her out of the way in a rough kind of way, and basically fought our way out of there. Jody was incapacitated, so we basically fought. And then we ran the 3 miles from Revolution Avenue. We were in shape, bro. We ran the 3 miles.
I remember those days. I ain't run from here to my steps. I'm telling you.
And when I think about it today, we ran the full 3 miles at a full pace with Jody Lee's arm bleeding. Anyway, Jody Lee calls his parents and tells them that I saved his life, and so they wanted to see me. So he lived in Appalachia. So I was like, I'm not fixing to go there with you.
That's Hollywood's country.
No kind of damn, no way, no reason, no how. And Jody said, well, my parents want to see you. My grandparents want to see you. So he talked me into going. So we get there to this small ass town. I don't remember the name of it, even remember the name of it. And so we get to his house, and it's a white picket fence house, and there's these guys standing out in the front with shotguns. And as we're walking into the house, as we're walking in, the guys open the gate, and the parents come out and meet me and hug me and all this business. And I I elbowed Jody Lee, and I said, I thought that you said there wasn't going to be no trouble with me coming here. These guys out here with shotguns. And he said,
That's home.
he said, these guys with the shotguns are not here for you. And I said, well, what are they here for? He said, they're here for who don't like you being here. Whoever the hell that is, that's who they're for. And
so you showed up at the Hatfields and McCoys.
And I tell you what, and I was the first man of color. I was the first black man to ever walk into those folks' house. They treated me very well. I was always welcome there. And what I learned in my military experience was I treat people how they treat me. I've had many white bikers with swastikas have a great relationship with those guys, where I've had some of my own brothers not have such a great relationship with. I've been shot 4 times in my life. I was never, ever shot by somebody with a damn swastika. I was never shot with somebody with lightning bolts. I was shot by people that look exactly like me. So I give a damn about any of the BS. You treat me with respect, I'm going to treat you with respect. You disrespect me, I don't give a damn what you're wearing, what club you come from, what emblem you have on. I'm not caring about none of that. You disrespect me, we got an issue. You respect me, we don't have an issue. It's really that simple.
And that's what this life's about.
I wear stuff that somebody might not like. For a while in my youth, I used to wear the flag of Africa, and I was a complete, absolute radical. And hey, that's who I was, and I didn't care. I didn't care what you thought about it. Just like you don't care what I think about what's on your emblems and stuff. I didn't give a damn what you thought about what I was wearing. And I feel that very same way. I feel that same way if somebody wants to come up and patch police me. Who blessed your patch, blah, blah, blah. Hey, bro, I'm wearing something. And I wore it in here, and I'm fixing to wear it out.
You brought up a very good point, and I'm glad you brought it up in just that way. It's not patch policing. It's not called, that's a new term too. It's called mud checking. And the reason for mud checking is to see if a guy is who he says he is. If he's standing there with gravitas and he's got, some mannerisms to him, another man's going to go up and check him. Hey, man, why are you here? Why are you wearing that patch? Who said you can wear that patch? Man, that is one of my favorite things to have happen to me, is somebody to mud check me. It used to be when I was in the armed forces. And I used to use it as teaching moments, especially the older I got in the club, because I knew exactly what was going to be said. I knew exactly in what way it was going to be said. I knew exactly how to say it. But these young cats didn't know. They just thought some 1%er was just being a dick, or some 1%er was just being rude or being controlling or being overbearing. It's about testing manhood. It's about saying, hey, man, if you are who you say you are, you will stand your ground. I can't tell you how many guys I've witnessed get mud checked. And that's the term we used back in the day. I guess today it's patch policing, but back in the day it was mud checking. If you got mud checked, it was if you back down 1 goddamn inch, I mean 1 inch, you were done. Your patch was gone. You were getting your ass kicked. There's a plethora of things that could have happened to you because you showed weakness. And in the MC community, weakness is unacceptable. And how you handled it was like, whoa, 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 dude. Hey, we're going to have a discussion about this. That's the right way to handle it. You were respectful, but you stood your ground. Say, hey, man, let me explain to you who I am. The first time that I left Mississippi as armed forces, I went to Norfolk, Virginia. And I don't know if many have heard of the Renegades MC. They're a 1% club that don't wear a 1% diamond, but they wear a 13 diamond and a 69 diamond. And they're an old club. And I'm at this bar, and I've been, fly rights were granted to armed forces years before then, but it's a long, lengthy story. But I was new. Nobody knew who I was. And I walk in this biker bar of the three that was there between Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Chesapeake. And I'm standing there, and in walks the boss of the Renegades. He's 62, 63 at the time. Great big dude, white haired, just a monster of a guy. And he looks at me, and I looked at him, and I thought, well, shit. I'm going to give him the who, what, when, where, and how now before he gets hold of me. So I walked right up to him, and I'm poking him in the chest like a dumbass. And I'm like, I'm Armed Forces Shaggy. I'm here from this, and I'm part of this chapter, and blah, 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 blah. Dude never said a word. He let me just run my mouth. And when I was done, he looked down at me because I was looking up like this, and he looked down like that. And he said, hey, man, want to go to the clubhouse and drink some beer? Hindsight's 2020. Now I've been like, I better think about this. But back then, I was young and dumb. Hell yeah, let's go drink some beer. So we went to the clubhouse, drank beer till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife showed up at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, madder and fucking all get out. And she was polite to all the Renegades, hugged them, all that shit like that. And then she's like, when are you coming home? I'm like, I'll be home when I get there. And she, in my pickup, which I had for years that I could never get to burn the tires off of, she burns the tires off right in front of their clubhouse. And this retired Renegade grabs hold of me by the throat and throws me up against the wall. My feet are off the ground. This big old boy is talking about killing me because my wife disrespected their clubhouse, which means she's my guest. It's my responsibility.
Old school.
Old school.
That's
and
old school.
I am literally, I'm pretty sure I was feeling the shit roll down my leg. I mean, I was scared to death, man. And next thing I know, I'm on the ground and this retiree is on the ground. That president of that club smacked that other dude in the back of the head with something. He hit the ground and he said, look, that's my guest. Don't you ever touch my guest. Matter of fact, all of our old ladies have burnt the wheels off the vehicles in front of here, pissed off at us leaving here. He's now part of the family. I thought that was great for a minute. And he said, man, you want to come back here and keep partying? I was like, I think I better go home because this shit ain't going to be great. But every time I went back to their clubhouse, even that retiree treated me great. Even though he had me by my throat and he was going to kill me, I mean, I guess I stood my ground. I mean, I couldn't go nowhere. But I stayed there long enough to help him up. I was scared to death, man. I thought that old man was going to get up and kick my ass. But the Renegades had a code. And that was cool.
Yeah, Eccentric actually brought up a good point, and I know you've heard it at Incom, Shaggy. Law enforcement and DHS looking at 1% as domestic terrorists.
Everybody wearing a 1% diamond, and I guess I can't say everybody because I don't know for a fact, but from what I've heard, most that wear a 1% diamond are considered a domestic terrorist organization. And that's through the Patriot Act. And what's really fucked up about that is, and it's not a bad thing for our elders, but the reputation that they built over the years is why that's still that way and why it was labeled that way when the Patriot Act came out. What most guys don't understand, especially young guys, about 1% clubs that have this very violent reputation is they need to go back in their club's histories. They need to go back in some of these old documentaries of these clubs and listen to the elders talk about back then and watch that pendulum swing from back then to now. And what they're going to see is back then, they were fighting to survive. They were fighting to stay alive with their brothers because back then, the big clubs didn't want nobody here. There's one club in every state. California was one of those clubs or states. Illinois was one of those states. You know, back in the '60s, man, it was a motherfucker for anybody who was trying to start a club. And then, they fought and they fought and they did everything they could. They lost brothers. The other side lost brothers. It's back and forth. And that pendulum swung to where the elders are saying, man, we don't need to do this shit no more. Things have evolved. Cut this shit out. Quit killing each other. We don't need to do this. Every biker is the same. Every club is the same. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a diamond or a t-shirt. We all got our problems internally. We all got this. We all got that. We all love brotherhood. We all love riding motorcycles. Our core is motorcycle and respect. For Christ's sake, man, I mean, the only thing that's different is the core of our club, what it stands for, what the founding was about, what our creed is, what our oath is. That's it.
How's the black clubs treated, BD? Are they treated like domestic terrorists too?
You got that 1%er diamond on you got an issue. When they know, there might have been a time when they didn't know what all that was, but they know what that is, and uh, and you don't have to particularly have that on. All you really need is colors on, and that's something that I've always said. Only really a few cops know the difference when they see a cut. Only people like us that are taught to read cuts understand that this is a diamond and this is a this and this is a that. Most of them, when they see a biker in a cut with the motorcycle club, you're already a criminal when they pull you over. And enough of them have seen Sons of Anarchy and stuff by now that it's just really kind of ridiculous. They come up to me and speak, in language like, dude, you must have heard that on television or something. So, yeah, the black clubs have the same problems and the same issues, and we always have. And the other thing you got to remember, as a black guy in this country, I mean, I often tell white guys, you want to know what it's like to be profiled, put a cut on, and you can find out what it's like to be us in a heartbeat.
Amen.
But put that cut on and be black, and it's still yet another issue. So I've had cops that have had me just genuinely like freaking terrified, like this guy is going to take my life or I'm going to take his. I've just been that terrified by some of the aggression when they come up and you got to cut on and they're acting like you're Superman. All of a sudden you'll be able to call down the power of Thor. My ring from hell. I will get you. Like, dude, I'm just a guy riding a motorcycle. So these guys can be a serious issue for us, Hollywood, and that's why I think all bikers should really stick together. We bikers have this rugged image. We're free. We're hated from the moment we've seen. Like if you remember the Henry Fonda, whatever the Peter Fonda. Remember that movie in the end? I mean, these guys are just shot down. Like, what the hell did they do? They were just some bikers on a motorcycle, and they were just murdered in the streets. So we do have that issue. Joker TV says in Australia they brought in Vlad laws, ducked riding for all bikers because of an idiot that watched Sons of Anarchy. I swear that show has done more to damage the biker culture than the Hollister riot, which there was no Hollister riot. But anyway,
that was false. So I did a video on SOA, and that video I did.
We can't hear you, Shaggy.
Oh, what about now?
Yeah.
I just had to get a little closer. I took that earpiece out for a little bit. It's killing my ear. So I did a video on SOA, and what I said in there real briefly was SOA has been an excuse for clubs being complacent. SOA has been an excuse for clubs coming up with excuses why they have such poor members and such lack of brotherhood in their club. The fact of the matter is, us old guys watched that fucking evolution from being the outcast of society to where they were doing bike nights that basically curtailed to this show, big screen TVs, motorcycles everywhere. It was a great time. And a bunch of us old guys back then were like, holy shit, people like us. They want to join our clubs. They want to be a part of this. We weren't taking into the aspect of what was really happening. And that's the fact of the matter. It was a good show. It was an entertaining show. It was a combination of whatever. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. The motorcycle clubs, the elders, to include myself, I will put myself into that because I was a part of it. We had people who wanted to drink with us and hang out with us, and our clubs were growing. And that's something we hadn't seen before because clubs used to go months and months and months, sometimes years without a prospect.
That's right.
Now we were getting them, 20, 30 at a time. What the fuck, man? We were overwhelmed. Like, people love us.
I got another one for BD and Shaggy. Clubs
No, I was
being,
not on a submarine with him.
clubs being as tribal as they are, do you think there's any hope ever that they're going to get along?
Go ahead, BD. I'll let you go first.
Why?
That is from Sean. He's from Montana.
Sean, I don't think they have any choice. We don't have any choice. We will die a slow death if at some point, as these laws, as we get more compact, as the communication gets better, as the social media makes our world smaller. What I preach and what I'll always say is we better figure out how to get along. We better police ourselves, or we're not gonna like the action that comes. All great societies that want to last, they figure out how to evolve and continue to last. The biker clubs are no different. We're gonna have to figure out how to evolve. That's my thing. And hey, the way we get along with clubs like we never did before, I think it's coming. Now, hey, we're still taking in these nutheads, and we're still taking in these guys with something to prove, and we don't want to string that guy out. He's so crazy, he's so stupid, he's so foolish, but you want him in a fight. And so clubs are making the decision to keep some of those knuckleheads around, and they just keep dragging us down. That's my feeling about it. We've gotten away from things like used to be anybody that came to the club, they knew somebody to come to the clubhouse and party. You didn't come to the clubhouse and party. You were given a card on the black set. You had a card, and the card had the name of the person that invited you on the card. When you showed up at the door, you showed that card, and they got that person, and that person okayed you in the door. And anything you did that was out of sorts would get the guy's ass kicked that invited you to the club. It was it was real. Like when he says the guy knocked that guy in the back of the head and said, "This is my guest. You treat my guest right." But then clubs became money making tools where you just let in
right there.
The general public, and the general public is in your club, and then such and such other group comes in, and now you got a big horde of people that you can't control, that you don't know, and they're tearing up the neighborhood, burning rubber out in the front and leaving, and you don't have any control over it. And this is what clubhouses have become. Nothing like what we had. It was a family affair, and now it's a money making affair, I guess. And for us, Biker Boys was the movie. I'm responsible. I made the movie Biker Boys. Me and a bunch of folks, we made this movie Biker Boys, and it was I was a major contributor. I was on the set. I helped with everything. But we told a story, but we missed the story of being able to. We didn't tell so much the protocol aspect of how people treated one another. And like Sons of Anarchy blew up, Biker Boys blew up. I have so many people that came to me and said, "Man, Biker Boys is what got me started." But the Black Biker set was almost dead before we did Biker Boys. Yeah, we would go years without a prospect. We did Biker Boys, it exploded. So it did some good things and it did some bad things. And will the clubs get along? I think they're going to have to. The kind of laws that we have, I saw this, one group of guys, they shot up a president down in Florida. And every single damn one of those guys goes to court and turns on the other guy. What did that accomplish? I mean, what did you get accomplished? Except everybody a long prison term. So, yeah, I think all over the world, laws are tightening up on us, and if we want to survive, we better figure out how to do it. My 2 cents.
So, with tribalism, I hate that term, and the reason being is tribalism was with the Indians, and they were tribal. They're each one of them had their own little tribes. Each one of them had the name for their tribes. Tribalism is a way to extinction. I mean, honestly, point out one full-blooded Native American, it's real hard to do. Tribalism is also a means to an end. And I don't think clubs are being tribal. I think what clubs are doing is they're being militant. And they're being militant in the aspect of you can keep pushing, we'll still go to prison, but we're not going to quit being who we are. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, all those guys from back in the day, John Hancock, all the founders, all the guys that are on this little document that I carry with me everywhere I go, which is, my pocket constitution right here. Everywhere I go is in my cut. And that's because, that's what this country has forgotten. I don't call it tribalism. I call it being good Americans. We've actually went from being against society's norms to kind of going, fuck, we're society's norms. We want our freedom. We want our, apple pie. We want our baseball. We want our this. We want our that. We want all the things that make America great. But what we're seeing is guys that want to blame a TV show. They want to say, hey, my mom asked me, hey, I watched the Sons of Anarchy. You guys like that? I never laughed so hard in my life. I'm like, Mom, we'd all be in prison. But it was. I wish we could have, because that looked like a good time. I mean, goddamn. Oh, was it Juice stole a whole brick of cocaine from the cartels? He could have got away with it if he'd have just done it with a bunch of strippers or something. Instead, he killed one of his brothers. I mean, come on. Clubs got to quit blaming others for their complacency. Clubs got to quit blaming others for their lack of doing what's right by assigning a qualified sponsor. And clubs got to quit thinking that everybody deserves to be in this lifestyle. We need to go back to being small. Why? Because we run into each other more. I can remember when I first started getting the Missouri chapter going, we'd go out of state. We go towards the East Coast, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, going to West Virginia, Kentucky, over North Carolina, South Carolina. Every stop we stop, like, hey, Shaggy, what's going on? And my club brothers that are all new, they're like, God damn, dude, we can't take you anywhere somebody don't know you. And I went, man, it's not that they all know me. It's because this lifestyle is a small community. Everybody knows everybody. You didn't do shit back in the day out of worry that you were going to go to jail. You did it out of fear that it was going to make it back to the diamonds, because if you screwed up, man, everybody knew everybody back then. Now I don't know anybody.
Now, what about those clubs? I think that's what Eastside's trying to ask about, how they incorporate prison politics and prison rules into their clubs.
Look, bro, I can't answer that one because that one will get me in a lot of trouble. My platform is not to get into those type of politics because my opinion about it is very strong. I am a biker. I'm an invader, and I'm a one percenter with a great history in my life, and I am not going to ruin it by answering that question. All due respect to that guy. Um, Great question, though. If he was sitting here in my garage, in my shop, I'd close the doors down, and if it was just me and him, I'd swear him to secrecy, and then I'd tell my opinion, but I'm not going to say it in this forum.
There you go, Eastside King 989. What about you, Black Dragon? He's in the chat room. Yeah, we can't hear you again, Black Dragon.
So he said, what about prison politics with these mixed race clubs? So that would be my club. How can they be brothers in prison? Yeah, listen, when you go to prison, everything changes. When you go to prison, the brothers you had, you got to figure out how to survive in that prison. So yeah, if you're in a mixed race club, you're probably not going to go to prison and be brothers. You're going to go to prison and figure out how to survive. But that's not something that really is a issue for my club. We don't have a lot of guys that go to prison. But when you go to prison, as a brother on the outside, I'm going to try to keep some money on your books. That's what we're supposed to do, and make sure your family's taken care of. But you got to survive in there. And there aren't so many clubs that are big enough to make a damn difference in prison. You got to go and be in the
one of them.
You're going to hook up with who's in power there. That's your same color, pretty much. And or you're going to be someone without a family, and they don't last long. They don't, or somebody's little girl or something. That's the way that works. So I don't say I'm not going to be a brother with you in this mixed race club, Black Sabbath, because we might go to prison and we can't be brothers. That's not our reality. Our reality, we're two Navy guys, and you're black and I'm white, and we're on the same ship. And do you want to be in my club? Two Navy guys are never even thinking about one day they're going to be in prison. So that's not an issue for me.
Well, you bring up a good point with mixed race clubs. And you guys started out in the 70s. How did that go over mixing the races back then?
Actually, Black Dragon, before you answer this, history will show that before the black clubs they had the history of their own, but there was a lot of clubs that are still around today that had black people in their club. That's a big part of culture. The 70s changed that.
Yes.
One of the founders of one of the clubs here locally, the El Forcero, is one of the coolest, chopper clubs. Started by Tom Fugel and Tiny and Moose and them guys. They had a black guy that started the Kansas City chapter with David Mann and them guys. And that was a big thing. The Angels had black guys. The Outlaws had, everybody. And what the biker thing was small. Then something changed. I don't know what it was. I'm not old enough. The old guys really don't know how to pinpoint it. But go ahead, Black Dragon.
And I've seen those pictures. I've seen those pictures of those top 5 big clubs with black members, and just mouth dropped to the ground. So, you don't know a lot of, it was small. They did what they did, and then things changed, and who knows, things may change back. What was the other question, Hollywood? How
was it for your club in the 70s accepting?
It didn't go over big in the club initially. The first white guy was a guy named Staff Akers. He was a Marine, and a Native American named Running Cloud. Those were the first 2 non-blacks. And so because we were in a Navy town in San Diego, and so many of our people were in the Navy and on ships together, it just naturally occurred. And the first 2 guys were military guys. And the Black Sabbath started off as a black club. And that was in 74. And 75, we got Staff Akers and Running Cloud. And Running Cloud was a Native American from like Arizona or something. And he was so he was so racist that he was always picking on Staff Akers. And it was bad. I mean, it was horrible. And finally, the club had to come to him and say, listen, Running Cloud, this is a brother of ours, and he cannot be treated in this way. And if you treat him like this, we're going to put you out the club. So it didn't go over big at first within the club itself. But there were a lot of progressive thinkers. We had a chiefs and master chiefs and all this in the club, and they worked with white guys and black guys and Mexicans and Hispanics. So the Black Sabbath was in a mixed cauldron anyway in San Diego and in California. So it naturally became a mixed race club, which I believe. I don't know any all black club that came out of San Diego. Even the Soul Brothers, which was a West Coast club, they got a black fist crossing a white fist. They were one of the first mixed race outlaw clubs, and later became one percenters. So it's it was a normal thing in California. As I came east, it's when I really began to realize, like, we always knew that the Hells Angels wasn't getting down like that or whatever, something like that. But in terms of the local clubs, we always knew the Mongols were one way, the Hells Angels, if you could do that. But the local clubs, they all kind of mixed. But there was a definite white set, a definite black set. But it wasn't until I came east and got into places like Tennessee and Mississippi and Little Rock, Arkansas, and Oklahoma that I really began to notice just how divided the set was.
Well, you got below that Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
and you got into that, Jim Crow type bullshit. And one thing I like to explain to people about the black set and the white set is, I tell people this all the time. So some people are going to take what I'm going to say offensive. I don't care. Just listen to the point I'm making because it's actually a good point to this. There are Southern blacks in Mississippi, and there are some ghetto, straight gangster thugs up here in St. Louis. Both are the same race, totally different way of thinking. Down in Southern Mississippi, I've seen a prevalent, which I had never seen before, growing up in the Southwest. And for a couple of years, I was back in Missouri before I went in the military. But railroad tracks and streets divided where the black people went in 1995. Okay. Like you're talking about, when you started to get to the East Coast and you got below that Mason-Dixon line, as much as people don't want to hear, there's a different mentality in the black mentality in the South as compared to north of that Mason-Dixon line. And if you go past Texas, there's a different mentality on the West Coast. And if you go past certain areas on the East Coast, the South, it was so much more laid back. I'd never been called sir so many times by black people. I mean, it was crazy. The Mason being down in Southern Mississippi I didn't understand it. It had to be explained to me, right? And that's how the black side of things was treated in the 70s. Hey, you belong over there. You don't cross this track. And, we're not going to even acknowledge you around. And that's why, and I learned all this through time when I started meeting all these black clubs. I didn't understand how these black clubs have been around for so long and I'd never met them. So I started asking the elders. And the elders would say, well, back then, they stayed over there. And if they come over here, it's a bad day. Now, that's in the South. When you get up north up here, you get to see like St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, all the way out to Kansas City. There wasn't that Southern way of thinking. We're all here in one big melting pot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I can say the same thing, about the white clubs.
That's right.
There's definitely a different kind of crazy ass mindset when you're up in Pennsylvania, and those guys are all methed out. It's nothing like what you might see down in down in in the South. Generally, people are more outwardly friendly, even though inwardly they might not be so friendly. People down in the South realized that they had to get along. As they went north and things like that, it was colder climate and people became more evil.
Yeah.
Having started clubs all across this country, I have had to deal in various areas, and sometimes I just couldn't understand the evilness or mean spirited kinds of guys I've had to deal with. And then other places, man, you would think that there's no way that White 1% Club is going to treat us with any respect. We're ready to grab guns and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, hey, brothers, come in and have something to eat. And what do you want? And so, I've just learned, like I said earlier, I've just learned to treat people like they treat me. And in this motorcycle club world, you can look at my patches and know who the hell I am because we read vests. Our vests speak a language, and you know who the hell I am. And you can tell by how my back patch looks that we are an old ass club, and we've been around a minute. You can tell just by the design. It's not an icon. It's not a graphic like these kids do. They take an icon from their favorite comic book series, and that becomes a graphic on their ours is pathetic. Some guy looked like he drew a stick figure and put a head on it, and that became our thing. So we're going to be okay if you have the right amount of respect, and I'm going to respect you, and you're going to recognize me for a man, and I'm going to recognize you for a man, and that's what happens in prison. That's what happens in gangs. That's what happens overseas. If you go on safari, wherever you are, you're going to have to stand for what you are, and if you can't do that, then you're going to perish. So,
Well, that's what happens when you're taught by, your parents, and you're taught by your grandparents, and you're taught by your family um, circle first before you ever graduate up to motorcycle clubs or gangs. You're taught how to respect your elders, speak when spoken to, carry yourself a certain way. Those things you need to have before you ever come calling to join anything. If you can't be an adult and you don't know anything about integrity or respect or loyalty or trust or honor, like we used to say in the Navy, you can appreciate this as much as I do. I still live by these values: honor, courage, and commitment. If you don't have that, I can't teach that to you. I'm good at what I do. I was a great Navy instructor, as I'm sure you were, Black Dragon. We were both E5s, man. We were at the pinnacle of our careers. E5s was the best place to be in the Navy because we didn't have to work so hard, but we got all the duties as were rewarding. And I'm here to tell you, until you um, have some values and a little bit of a moral code to you, it's all taught at youth. Once you're an adult, you're set in your ways. It's harder to teach you how to be a man. It's harder to teach you how to be respectful. It's harder to teach you how to be loyal. It goes back to what you've been saying for a long time, Black Dragon. Me, 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 motherfucking me. Well, I will never change because I'm not about me. I'm about my brothers. I'm about my club. They come before me. I'm about those that are loyal to me because I'm just 10 times, 100 times more loyal to them. I don't treat people as they treat me. I treat like people like I was taught. My mom's stuck on this. Treat people as you want to be treated. So I do. I give everybody 3 strikes, man. Here's the one lesson to learn about 1%ers. The first time you meet them, you might catch them on a bad day. You know, the second time you meet them, you might catch them on a bad day. Third time you might meet them, you ain't catching that motherfucker on a bad day. He's just a dick. I always go by third impressions. I always go by handshakes. If you give me a little weak handshake, oh my God. We learned that in the military. You know, I learned that from my dad. Don't go in there with some little weak shit or a little limp wrist shit, you know. That don't work. You know, believe it or not, for all the feds that are watching, we are a moral-based, responsible man, woman, family ideology-based lifestyle. And anybody who says otherwise doesn't understand what loyalty, honor, trust, and respect means.
Well, with that, man, that was a kick-ass thing for me. It's been an awesome 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I really enjoyed talking to you two, but I got to get out of here.
You shutting us down, Hollywood?
I'm going down. You guys can keep on going.
I'm tired. I'm about to fall. I can't believe we talked for 3, and we kept. I don't know if this many people stayed or are they just coming and going, but we've kept.
You averaged 144.
Wow, that's crazy. So,
you know,
I think if we
all go to bed.
I think if we get some other creators on, it'd be good too. Round table at freaking Black Dragons.
that's going to be cool. Yeah. And I know a lot of folks. I think we ought to do this maybe at least once a month, at least.
I agree.
Maybe a couple times a month, but at least once a month. We should have church. That's what this was.
Church.
You know, this was more than church. This was sitting around the damn campfire, you know, and somebody done passed out too much goddamn mushrooms.
Oh,
I say let's have a monthly campfire. I think it'd be good. Not monthly church, okay?
Could be monthly bleeding.
oh my goodness.
I'll hand out tampons to all the sissies.
Well, everybody, before I go, just go over there, subscribe to Shaggy.
Yes.
Shaggy's.
What's the name of your channel again, Shaggy?
Shaggy's Corner, MC Life. We're not nowhere near the Holy Grail. We're the real fucking deal.
I got to make you an intro.
And I'm not the news, so don't ask me about what other clubs are doing because it ain't none of my business. You guys have a good night.
You too, man.
Can y'all hear my music?
Yeah.
Man, this is all messed up, bro. Anyway, you guys, it's been a pleasure, man. I want to thank you guys both for being on my show. Shaggy, I want to thank you for just what you bring. I can't wait. I really can't wait to see what you bring. So glad to have spoken to you before you did this, and as you were deciding to bring it up. I'm glad to have had these hours-long chats with you, man, and I'm really pleased. I think Boar's going to be pleased. I think you're doing a good thing for your people and definitely for your side of the fence, man. So
we got to try to get him on, man. We got to try. Shaggy, go talk him into it.
Well,
I had him on once.
We got to get him on bugging and gunning in the good old days. I'm all about it, man. Let's do it.
So I appreciate you guys, man, both of y'all, and you guys be good. Listen, I'm Black Dragon. This is Black Dragon Biker TV. I want to thank you all for tuning in. This is my comeback video. Hollywood got on my ass to make me do it, and I'm so glad he did. We've got my new book, President's Bible. It will be in the stores in about a week or so. I think it takes them about 2 weeks to get. I finally got this thing done and out of my life. I just doing some barely new touches on it, but everything is done finally all these years, and I'm just so glad to have birthed this thing. So I hope you guys like that book. We want you to make sure to check out, go like and subscribe and share Shaggy One Percenters channel. with the Invaders, and we want you, of course, to check out Hollywood on Insane Throttle and his Charlie. What's your radio show? What is that? Tell us about it.
InsaneVoltage.com. You to download our app as well. It's 24/7 rock and roll, no commercials. Plus, we have Monday through Friday, 8:15 a.m. Central. I go after China Doll. We go back and forth. So it's a good time.
So listen, folks, we're gonna probably do this once a month. We won't do 3 hours, I promise, but
We're more structure.
We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it some more. I really had a great time with these guys, these producers. These are real bikers, man, and we're having a blast out here. I'm Black Dragon. I'll be back. I don't know what my schedule is going to be, but I'm back on the air now. Now that my book is done, and just be looking for some hard-hitting videos. We're going to all be getting together. We're going to meet up. We're going to ride. We're going to have some fun, and do this biker thing like we do it all the time. Listen, that's my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in, and get skinny.
Here's to you. Here's to me. If we ever disagree, fuck you. Here's to me.
Take
care, Black Dragon. Good
Take
shows,
care,
bro.
buddy. Good to see you too. I need some outro music. Here we go. Outro My whole board is screwed up here. This is crazy. All right, I'm out. Take care. Oh, what's wrong with my board here? In broadcast. Yes, in broadcast.